Welcome home all. Good evening. It is Friday night, and it is an extremely expensive date night tonight. This is the ultimate special cheap date night. So it is quite literally wrapping up not just 2019, say, year in review special, but it is the 2010's year in review special. And we're going to, I've been doing other shows that are wrap-ups for the year, and we'll begin having others for the decade this coming week or two. And definitely before we get out of January. So we've got a lot of specials still planned for you. This one in particular is, again, it's cheap date night, so I've got my crime partners with me. But tonight is going to be about wrapping up the year and the decade in review with stories that the two gentlemen and myself found striking or moving and moving into the new decade, the 2000 and maybe roaring 20s, we'll see, but probably not roaring for all the good reasons. Might be roaring for some bad reasons. Lion King roaring it. So into the 220s, into the 2020s, and we're going to wrap up our 2010s, what we saw, what we felt. Not all good feeling stuff, some of it bad, and that's quite literally, I mean, all of us here are in some way or another married to or part of education. But if you're not learning, if you're not teaching, then you're not improving. And that's quite literally the gist of, the genesis of what I began doing with this show a while ago now, a number of years ago, and what I'm continuing to do with the gentlemen that are with me on this evening. But it is still about education, it's still about learning, so whether we like it or not, sometimes things are not pleasant, sometimes things are not pretty. However, that doesn't preclude us from being able to bring up the issues that matter and dealing with them in an adult fashion, not demonizing or vilifying, but making things objective and dispassionate in our approach to how we solve problems and deal with issues. So you're going to get a little bit, and so for the record, I do not get into a specific script with the gentlemen and with guests. I give them a general or generic idea of what the show's topic would be about, and then I let their minds kind of get creative about what they want to talk about and what they want to do. That way you have a more full view of issues and topics, not just specifically coming from me through my prism, because I'm not the only person on this planet that exists. There's a lot of others, and we need to hear all those viewpoints to get a really good understanding of how we can go forward working with all those people. So without any further ado, to my left and to my right, my two crime partners.
Hi, folks.
Dr. Manhattan Miller and Swainbo, the education Rambo. So to my right, you got Dr. Miller, recently tattooed and stamped Dr. Miller. He's to my right. It snuck that in there. So he's to my right because he's a hardcore. Oh, there's the video. Oh, wow. That's dirty.
You got it too much.
Doctor.
Too much.
So to my right, hardcore Doctor. He's a hardcore right-wing extremist. And then to my left, I got the far left-leaning liberal education Rambo. That's good, KP. Look at reading Rambo.
Wow.
That is Swainbo right there. Swainbo, the reading Rambo in education.
Especially in the library.
Hey, we're upscaling, man. This is some serious stuff now.
Yeah.
We're upscaling. All right.
See.
So one of these days I'll get my cape and my hoorah and do my own little superhero juju. But you get my upper, in this case, my upper right, your upper left corner. You got my logo. That's going to go on I actually have a suit planned for Supermax. No joke. I'm going to drop 5-10 more pounds and I'm going to get in that suit. And it's going to have that big image, my logo, my personal logo that I created on the far upper, on your upper right, my upper right, your upper left corner, the Supermax symbol.
Real superheroes don't wear capes.
Well, you've been watching The Incredibles.
Exactly.
Man, I tell you what, that's The Incredibles. I'm an old school Superman, and they wear big red capes.
That's my show. I love it.
Trust me. I know, it is funny. It is funny, like, hey, those things get... I remember when I first saw it, I said, that's true. You get all tangled up, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you get all tangled up. But if you end the fight fast enough, you don't have to worry about tangle. So, anyway, so Supermax. Swainbo. I'll put you in that Rambo uniform. Yeah. Education Rambo, and then the Dr. Manhattan Miller. Did you know that you're gonna like this on HBO?
I've seen that.
Dr. Manhattan's a black dude. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know that. I actually know him indirectly.
That guy?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, he's we're fraternity brothers. He's,
My
a
God.
graduate from Berkeley. I don't know him personally, but I've been introduced to him. It's Yaya. I forget his last name.
Something or other.
He had twin sisters that went to Fresno State.
There, that was a freaky and good series. I don't know if you saw it.
It's not done.
The Watchmen?
The series is. I mean, it's just
It's finished the season. Yeah, finished the season. Obviously, they're going to have multiple.
I loved it.
HBO doesn't greenlight anything unless it's good enough to do like 4, 5, 6 seasons.
You know why I love it? It opened up with the Tulsa Massacre.
I know. Hey, listen, a lot of people,
That's
by
what
the way,
grabbed me.
a lot of people don't even know that exists, or didn't even know that happened, or didn't know what.
They're starting to learn. There are more and more people, and it's because of shows. That's what's going on with the Watchmen, telling that story. That's part of the storyline that they've told. That more people are becoming informed about that.
Correct.
Yeah, but it was good. That's what grabbed me. I mean, you know, I used to read the Watchmen's cartoons.
Did you really?
It was kind of different. I mean, I've never been a big cartoon.
The comic?
The comic book.
Yeah, the comic.
Not really been a big comic guy, but it was because it's strange.
Yeah.
The Vietnam War was. It was
correct.
There's a fantasy part to it, but it's also interwoven with history.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always watched that part of it. And then when I found out who, the star, I forget her name now, from 227. Regina King.
Regina King.
I'm a big fan of Regina King's. So I saw that she was in it, so let me watch it. And
Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, exactly.
Jerry Maguire.
That first episode, they're talking about the Tulsa riots. I'm like, oh yeah, this is just
Okay, and then
my
so
attention.
without going too far there, because I mean that could be another show. But I mean that, and the way they dealt with, race, right? Race and Tulsa Massacre.
It's all woven through there.
Oh yeah, and so they dealt with it in a way was like it. You didn't have to be black specifically. You just had to be somebody that actually gives a damn about humans,
People,
right? To understand that, okay, there's this nasty part, and that's what we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, in terms of our issues, right? Because that's an issue that's still with us. I mean, we're dealing with it now, apropos, yes? I mean, right now, think about it. We are dealing with race relations. We are dealing with, other than anti-Semitism, Islamic, there's a lot of antis, but it's all over the place. And, I've always said, and that's kind of why I've held some people that are, loyal followers of this show, that they know we deal with these ugly topics, but we deal with them in a way that's straight, clean, and fair, and not done to try to skew, one way or the other. Because, I mean, bottom line is when we're all over and done, we're all Americans, and we all still have to work with each other at some point. We all, at least in my world, right? And I do believe that when we're at our best as a country, we're all working in unison, common goal, moving in the same direction for good common purpose. I sound like an old military guy, but,
I mean,
that's what I believe.
I think you're absolutely correct. I mean, when we were growing up, we were still isolated. There was really very little connections between the continents.
You're old enough. You're old enough to.
But now I tell my students that I come in contact with every day, you're not competing with students being the best student in Madera doesn't make you college ready. Because you're taking on kids that are in Fresno and Los Angeles and those natural places, but there's some 14-year-old kid that's in China and India who you're in competition with for a college seat. Yeah. It wasn't like that when we were growing up. And so,
exactly.
We have got to, this world has always been connected. I don't know if we always knew that, but we've got to take care of other countries. We've got to be not necessarily kind or always forgiving of things, but we have to be able to interact. When we disagree, let's disagree, let's get beyond that. Because if we disagree and eradicate one another, it's not just going to be us.
Correct.
It's going to be all the other people.
I think we're heading there.
With us.
I think, and I'm going to have a sneaking suspicion that before the evening is done, ladies and gentlemen, on this really, really cheap date night / expensive date night,
Hey,
for the gentleman,
I'm a doctor now.
for the gentleman,
I'm upgraded.
Yeah, man, he's going to cost me more, right? Yeah, it costs me more. It's like he's not cheap anymore. But before we get into the body of the show, for one, if you haven't figured out, so the gentlemen, the three of us, Super Mike's Swainbo and Dr. Manhattan Miller, like that. Hey, Dr. Manhattan.
It works out pretty
well. That dude
is
Dr. Manhattan in D.C., the D.C. universe, is one of, if not the most powerful entity, not just say superhero, right? Because he gets classified as supervillain sometimes too. Yeah. But, and I'm a comic goon. I know that.
But they got him in the last episode. I don't know
they
what's
did.
going to happen
Well,
with
you
him,
know,
but-
it's we won't give away too much because you got to watch the show. But he is extremely powerful. He has the
predicted
ability
it.
to alter reality, alter
Right.
a variety of things, including his biology, his body, everything that goes with it. So he's, you know, Dr. Manhattan. I'm giving you a plug, man. That's pretty
Thank
good
you. I
stuff.
appreciate that.
Dr. Manhattan,
I'll take
Dr.
it.
Miller, Dr. Miller. So the three of us are all decked out, if we want to call it that. Not decking the holiday season, but decking for the new decade, like that. The new decade, dressed and outfitted, uniformed, because we're in uniform tonight. We are in uniform tonight. All right, so dressed and outfitted by Seta Pearson of Sam's Tux and Taylor, soon to be Always Dapper 559. They are now my exclusive. That sounds kind of good, huh?
Yeah.
My exclusive tailor and outfitter for Supermex Nation. And I want to make sure we give a lot of love and attention to Seta and what she's doing with her father's business, and she's going to begin to grow it. That business has been in existence for a long time, decades. They've been taking care of young folk in particular.
It's at 40-something years. if I'm not
Exactly.
mistaken, with her
Yeah.
dad.
Nearly, you know, probably going to go to 5 decades. But she takes care of, they take care of, for the most part, this community, the Fresno Clovis, greater Fresno Clovis area community, in terms of tuxedos for proms, dances, any
all
type
that
of
stuff.
formal
Yeah.
event. And here we are, you know, this is the formal event, by the way. And it's not just tuxedos, but it's also men's suits. They specialize in men's tailoring, men's clothing. And there you go. So we will have, at some point, I'm going to have images and info to get to. We won't do that tonight, but I'm plugging because Seta and the business are now going to be a Supermex exclusive sponsor, advertiser for the show, and my exclusive outfitter. And I'm really happy to say that, you know, literally my very first like exclusive deal with the Supermex Nation and the Supermex soon-to-come network is going to be with the person that clothes and outfits me for the show. Gotta love that. You gotta have that. I think that's like a staple. You gotta begin to have that, right? And then we'll have other businesses because we have other people from the community and around that will also be part of what we're doing. Here's the thing. I don't want their advertising dollars. You heard me say it. Some of you are laughing at home that know me because you're like, this guy always goes out of business, right? He's going to go out of business. I don't make money. I don't. What I'm doing with the people that I, watch this, partner with is based on trust and a relationship. It's about trust and a relationship. I know where we are in this country right now. It's about how you're doing, how your 401k is. By the way, I don't have a 401k. 10% of the country doesn't have a 401k, but 90% don't. I'm regular folk. I'm Joe and Jane America. I don't. I live regular. I eat regular. And I don't do all those other bells and whistles. It's about relationship. It's about trust. It's about partnering with people over a period of time, knowing that they can rely on you and trust you. And so I'm really happy to say that, again, Seta Pearson and Sam's Tux and Taylor, men's suits and tuxedos are our first. I've got others, but like I said, this will be our first official partnership with the business in the community, and we're going to have plenty more as we grow the nation, Supermex Nation, all kinds of different programming and ideas, issues, policies. Each of the gentlemen to my right and left, the hardcore right-wing extremist and the hardcore left-wing extremist over here, will also be part of that as we go forward. By the way, it's unfair, right? Because these guys are my friends. I will say that. They are my friends. They've gotten to know me. They know who I am in general. I'm straight-laced, no garbage, no bull. You get exactly what you see in front of you. I do not lie. I tell the truth. And that's hard to say. That's hard to do. You know, my old rule is my pop used to tell me this all the time. If you have to say it, you probably aren't it. But my dad isn't living in the world of 2020. You know, my dad died a long time ago. And I can tell you this, I know he would be this way. He'd be amazed at how often people just look you right in the eye and tell you who they are. That's totally opposite.
Opposite.
Totally opposite. Yeah. Because in his world, it was like, you shouldn't have to say it because that's who you are. We don't live in that world anymore. And so I'm a little, you know, he'd be disappointed, but my pop, you know, he died when I was a 9-year-old boy, but that's who he was. That's the image I have in my head of who he was. And that's how I live. And that's how I live roughly, 40 years later, 40 plus years later. I still live that way. I'm still kind of caught in that bubble. Sometimes I think we need to be caught in some of those bubbles.
True.
Because then we never lose sight of the principle and the focus. So, okay, so let's get down to business. Thank you, Seta Pearson, for outfitting my friends and I.
Thank you.
It is an extremely cheap date night tonight. I was looking forward to this night, not just to get dressed up, but every man should have the ability to look good for the people watching once in a while. Okay, so here's the gist of the show tonight. We are going to have roughly, and we could play with it a little bit because that's what we do, but we've got roughly 3 items per gentleman, that out of the 2010s moved us, struck us, made us think, and that we believe matter going forward. So it's not just like we just took 10 political issues, 10 social issues, 10 entertainment issues. We're going to hybridize the 3 of us because I don't know what these 2 gentlemen picked. All I know is that I gave them, run with it. What do you think? What do you feel? And then we're going to have discussion on it because I'm going to guess that aside from our difference in shading a little bit, because we really do look alike. We're all the same right now. Other than a little a little shading color differences, right? Other than that.
When you guys hiding your gray, I'm proud of mine. You guys hiding it.
I ain't hiding nothing. I got a shade, man. Hey, so you can get away with that. You know how some guys can look, both of you dudes, man. Okay, look, if I grow, on the record, watch this. If I grow what either of you 2 have on your chin and your cheeks right now, I just look dirty. I'm serious. I just look dirty. I'm not joking. Trust me. I just look like I came out of the field.
Okay.
Like I was just picking grapes or something. I just look dirty. So it's either for me, I've got to go full, or I've got to keep it clean.
Okay.
But I will say this, because you brought up the point about the facial hair.
I love it.
I will say this. I got a pretty clean, good-looking mustache when I grow it. I've had ladies say that I look like a Mexican Errol Flynn when I grow the mustache. The little mustache?
You're dating yourself, by
Yeah. Well, it's not like we're a bunch of young guys, right? But for my older audience,
Your older audience will
I
know
look
that.
like a
They'll know the
Mexican-
name at least.
Now, hey, by the way,
And by the way,
if we all know Errol Flynn's a badass.
It's ERROL, right?
ERROL.
Yeah.
Correct.
So don't try to go in there and Google Arrow or any of those type of things.
You won't get it right.
You
Hey,
won't get it
Errol,
right.
hey, I don't see if you guys.
See, I remember how to spell his name. I knew it was
All right,
different.
So both of you 2 should understand. Errol Flynn was a badass.
I remember.
That dude was a beast, man. So, and I had a lady tell me that. It was an older lady. She said, "You look like a Mexican Errol Flynn." I was like, damn, I was floored. I was like,
Did you take it out
damn,
since?
tall. Hell yeah.
They said-
Hell yeah. You call me a Mexican Errol Flynn, you think I'm like, I was in awe of her. I was like, damn, lady, thank you very much. You just made my damn year. Because Errol Flynn was like the quintessential Hollywood.
I remember him in something where he's a pirate.
Yes. More than one. I don't know if it was Mutiny on the Bounty.
That's what I recall about him.
I don't know if it was me.
The
What?
sword. And
Right. He played like Dashing Errol Flynn.
Yeah.
The Dashing Errol Flynn.
the Dashing
He had a lot
Errol
of different roles. But the dude was like, he was the quintessential Hollywood, debonair, dashing.
He was a stud.
That's some old school.
That was what, the
stars.
40s, right? 40s,
Oh, yeah.
50s?
Oh, yeah. 30s and 40s. Actually, 30s and 40s.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's really old school Hollywood. And if you really want to, like, and the dude was good looking, man. So like, I've never said I'm the greatest looking guy on the planet, but when you tell me I'm a Mexican Errol Flynn, I'm good with that. I'm like, hell yes. Hell yes. Like 2 times over. Okay, so we're done with the with the facial hair. I gotta think about it. You guys got some grub on, man. I can't do that. I look dirty. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, big show for you tonight. Our 2010s, S on the end, items and issues that we found striking to, for 3 highly educated gentlemen, highly educated, overeducated gentlemen.
I'm a simple guy.
Like, highly educated
Simple
gentlemen.
guy to learn how to work hard.
I gotta get this right.
Simple man. Simple guy worked hard.
This highly educated gentleman. So 3 gentlemen from 3 different walks of life, from Central California, Central Valley, and we've got, we do look alike tonight, but we do have differences, and I'm sure that we've come up with some things that are different amongst the 3 of us for the 2010s. Yeah. I will, caveat a little bit, though. I will say this. We've all been in and around education. Mm-hmm. So I will be mildly surprised if we don't all hit on one subject or 2 that has to do with education or learning or youth. We'll see. Okay, so I think last week we went first with you.
Yeah.
So let's go with Dr. Manhattan. Dr.
Okay.
Miller.
All right, let's hear it.
Nothing of this is going to be about education and school and learning and things.
Whoa, okay.
But I have
got you.
one A and one B that are interconnected. You know me, politics, anything that has to do with ethnic and racial relations.
You got, is it
and
3
sports.
items or like sub-items?
Nope, it's one A and one B. You can't, it's the yin and yang.
Okay.
Wow.
2012.
Getting all philosophical, like a doctor.
Obama's re-election, huge.
Okay,
To have a black
2012.
man in America, he won in 2008, but for him to follow
Re-elect.
up and even have more
Right.
of a support to be able to come in that. And then following it up 4 years later with the election of Donald Trump. The antithesis of
Okay, so you're 12 and
of Obama.
16, you're
I think
10s.
that for me, those two are interconnected.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And the magnitude of what those two elections, the follow-up and then being the next person in line, and how the opposites, their leadership styles.
Well, I mean,
their-
let's just do it. I'll say it. I mean, from the obvious, right? A black guy and a white guy, but they're polar opposites in so many ways. Not just the party. You know, a black guy, a white guy, a Republican, a Democrat, a this or that.
I think that the magnitude of the differences in them is a lot of the things that we're struggling with and dealing with now. And it's rooted and
Because we are
grounded
split.
in the America.
We're split.
The split that we have.
We are split.
And the underlying ethnic and racial tones that goes along with that. I'm not saying it's good or bad or otherwise. I'm just saying that those two events, the re-election of Obama in 2012 and the election of Trump in 2016, the combination of the two of them, I can equate lots of different things,
Right.
good and bad, to those two events.
Because that sums up a decade. You know, if you wanted to make it a macro and say that on the political scale that sums up the decade, right? Is that you have the two-party system, you have our cultural differences like blasted right in your face, blasted right in your face, and there's no getting around it as we're into 2020, and not just because of the election coming. Not just because of the election coming. You made a good point, and I'll let Swaymo jump into this in a second too. You made a good point in the sense that there's no way around it. We're going to have to deal with it. It's not good or bad. It can be alternately both or none of the above. And when I say alternately both, I mean this. It could be bad for the obvious reasons, the anti-Semitism, the divisions within our country that are magnified right now and becoming more extreme. That's the bad end. I said this, and I still don't care who hears because it did happen. You know, on my end, you know, I wouldn't be Super Mex if I didn't at least say something about it. But you know, the young dude that drove across Texas to go murder
Yeah, Paso.
Mexicans, specifically Mexicans. That's race division.
Right.
Race division. I'm not saying he's indicative of an entire group of people. He's not. I've got white people, black people, orange people that love me, that I love. That's not all of America, but that's a slice of America. That's the bad end. On the good end, however, if like-minded individuals like ourselves, if like-looking individuals like ourselves, I think I'm going to go hard with that tonight. Plug in Sam's tux and tuxedos and suits. But if like-minded, strong, and I mean strong not in the physical sense, but in the mental sense, if good people don't stand up and start saying something and saying, that's garbage, and because we're not on FCC rules here, that's bullshit, and call it out, and we don't do something about it and start working together, then those racial divisions will magnify. So I do believe it could be good and bad. We have to make sure, like say for us three right now talking about it, we're doing the right way. We're doing the right thing. We talk about it openly. We can all get along. You know, we don't all look the same. We don't all grow up in the same place. We don't have the exact same background. But damn it if we can't work together. Damn it if we can't wear the same tux. How say you?
You know, my thought about that was it really shows America that anybody can be president.
Correct. Which was the initial thing.
Yeah, and it can show that, okay, we had our first black president. You know, we had, you know, someone like Donald Trump who
non-politician,
total business guy, and comes in and wins. We have in the Democratic Party right now, we have a lot of females. We had Hillary Clinton, who was right there. You look before the 10s, and you look before that, and you kind of had, I don't know, for the lack of a better term, you kind of had the establishment that these rich, powerful, Rockefeller-type families that were able to just kind of, okay, yep, that one's going to run for president, and he's going to get in, and this and that. And so I think really, I agree with your points on those, Darren, and then also looking at the fact of, it really opened up the political arena that anybody that, as long as they fulfill those requirements, they can go and they can run for office and they can win.
Right. The crazy dichotomy between, think about this. In 2008, right, you get the first black dude that gets, that is the president of the United States, first black dude elected to president. At the dawn of the 10s, 2010, there was serious optimism, in the country going forward, like, wow, we really are America, right?
Yeah.
Because other countries have multiple ethnicities, females running the show,
right.
okay, all that, females, minorities, etc. And we're the United States. Shouldn't we be the most diverse, most far-thinking, far-reaching, progressive in the good way going forward? And at the and I'm going to say it because I remember, after the Obama election and into the 10s, I remember watching like an end-of-decade thing back then. That's why I kind of like doing them now. But it was about optimism and like, hey, every little dude, every little gal in America can aspire to be the president of the United States.
Exactly.
And there was optimism. And, we can make the point and argue now a little bit that, even though the optimism's still there for both of you, I agree with you both there, that, anybody can, the optimism's different though. It's definitely not the same. There's some pessimism too. It was like shining and bright, like, oh, look what we can do. And now it's like, oh man. It's more, and now it's like, man, look what we can do. Oh, damn, I don't know about what we can do. But, good point, and those are all 10s.
Yes.
And I'm with you, uniformly on that. I still believe in what, the best of America is.
I just think that either one of those events in isolation would still be, something special.
Significant. By itself. Yeah.
But the two of them combined makes it even greater for me.
Yeah.
I got you. And then let's do it, right? Let's put it on the table. The Castro kid got the boot out of this race.
He didn't get the boot.
Well, you know what I mean.
He decided he couldn't keep pace.
He got the boot. Just call it, he got the boot. And so I've got two things that I uniformly address with. Obviously, the simple one, right? I'm Hispanic, right? So the Castro guy, and a specific Mexican American.
And then Williamson, she got out today.
No, her too.
Yeah,
She
did
So
today.
what I was going to say was that I didn't have necessarily a candidate, for like presidency. I was just waiting to see on the Democratic side what it would be, what would be forward. And I got to tell you, I was disappointed. I am disappointed that I think the last time we did a show on politics or it had to do with president stuff, I may have said something to you about this. The shows that we had done had not been about politics per se, but I was disappointed in the Democratic Party that Seth Moulton didn't get a look at all. I'm still a little pissed about that. He is a 4-tour combat Marine, infantry, and I've told you guys there's a difference. There's a difference. You're infantry. That means you're in the dirt. You're there. You're not hiding anywhere, and I don't want to be mean, but it's the truth. Infantrymen deal with different dagger, and they deal with different circumstances. He was a 4-tour combat vet in the desert, and the guy didn't even get a look, man. I'm just like really disappointed, really pissed off with the Democratic Party that he didn't get any attention whatsoever. So that's my foible for the night on the presidential politics side of it, but he didn't, and I really do identify with that, being an infantryman, in a service. So anyway, that's my disparaging, bad thing. I'm not happy with the Democratic Party about not even looking at Seth Moulton. Anyway, okay, back to you.
Okay,
What you got?
Okay, so now I'm just going to go way over and just
Because you are far to the left.
completely out of the realm on this.
He is far to the left.
So mine is going to focus on, in the decade of the 10s, look at the onset of how we shop. Amazon,
True.
Oh, man.
online.
I got a package today.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
It's-
Yesterday.
Even though Amazon's been around for a while, but you really look at this last decade, you look at how we have changed our behaviors when it comes to shopping now. I was in Lowe's the other day, and I needed to get some hose parts.
Did you say, like, what am I doing here?
Well, pretty much I did, and I did. I'm like going, there's too many people, I can't find anything, and I couldn't find what I was looking for, and just in the aisle, I pull out my phone, oh wow, and I can get it today.
Delivered.
From Amazon?
To your door. To your door.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazon Prime. My wife's birthday's coming up, and okay, send me some links and kind of look at some things, and I didn't have to leave the house. My whole Christmas shopping this year, everything was done online. You can have it delivered to your house.
Guilty as charged.
You can have it delivered to your work.
Guilty as charged.
You can get it if you're like with Amazon, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can, if you order by 9, 10, 11 in the morning, you can get it by 9 o'clock that night, or you can get the next day. Just look at how Amazon and all of these other online companies have revolutionized how we shop. Back in the day, I can remember my mom, and she would get the paper and she'd get all the different ads. Okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to shop here. Oh, you know what? RN Market has a special on this. I'm going to go over to RN Market. Back in the day, First and Bullard Gongs. I'm going to go to Gongs and get this. I'm going to go to Foodland Market. Yeah, and we would be, and it was like,
gas was 99 cents a gallon, though.
yeah, and we were going all over the place. And now it's like you get on your phone, and this is what I want, and Target.com, Walmart.com, Amazon.com, all of these different places, Dick's Sporting Goods, every brick and mortar now, they have a huge online presence. And just the behaviors that have changed within us.
It does alter the way you think about it.
It does, and it has a very positive aspect, because we're a consumer nation and we can get things, but it also has a negative aspect as well. It's the whole thing where we're not getting out of our homes. We are, just like with social media and kids, we're glued to our phones. We become less social.
You're not interacting
We're not
personally.
interacting with people. So I'm looking at the positive, but it also has kind of a negative trend as well. And so I'm really curious on where are we going to go from now. I was just on online today, and they had a video of a robot, and you know how Amazon, they do all these, they're looking at drone delivery and stuff like that, and now they've got some companies that they're trying out where the van comes up and the robot gets out, walks up, drop the package down, and
Well, the thing, I hadn't thought about this, but like when you go to McDonald's, when you go, places such as Walmart and different places, you can call ahead, place your order, and then they'll bring it out to your vehicle. I mean, there's all types of, fast food industry now is getting involved in that. And so I hadn't thought about it, but you're absolutely correct. That whole Amazon.
It is changing the lifestyle.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay,
It is.
true story, because you brought it up. So on the way here right now, I stopped off to get our soon-to-be negotiated contract with Arizona. I stopped to get some drinks.
Yeah.
I was paying for the drinks at the counter, and a dude walks in, doesn't get in line behind me. He stands off at the side.
The dash.
The dude had ordered like a 24-pack of beer with the little salt and the lemons.
Yeah.
The lady just went like, "Your order?"
yeah.
And it was paid for. He walked out.
You pay for all that stuff online.
He showed her his phone.
Yeah.
He showed her his phone. That was the order.
Yeah.
He picked up his stuff and walked out.
Was it actually for him, or was he going to deliver? Because they have
No. That guy was picking up his order.
I don't know what it's called. Is it DoorDash?
DoorDash.
Something
Yeah,
Dash.
DoorDash.
Where people now, they go and pick up your food,
And they'll bring it to
and
your
they,
house.
and they show their phone, and then they'll take it deliver it to your house. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that, but you're absolutely correct that it's. And when
It's quicker. It's
we're
easier.
obese, we're not exercising and kind of stuff. You're right. How does that this new trend going to impact our?
And
how
that
we
does
live
go
as
forward.
people?
I'll add this. So aside from like the obvious, like the physical inactivity and lack of want to go out and like do things, right? For sure that. But how about this? And this one really bothers the hell out of me, is the inability to look someone in the eye when you're talking about something, because man, people lie or they don't tell you the whole truth.
You don't want me to text you?
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. No, I'm dead serious about this. People love to text, they love to send emails, they love to do all these other things, but they won't look you in the eye because there's so much more contextually you can get out of a communication.
Right.
If you sit or you standing in front of someone, you'll know they're bullshitting you or lying to you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, just text me so I don't have to look at you. Text me so I don't, or email me so I don't have to. No, I want to talk to you because I still believe in that. I still believe in shaking someone's hand. I still believe in looking somebody in the eye. And when I tell them I'm going to do that, then if I don't do that or I don't make that happen, then it's on me, my fault. But you lose the responsibility, the culpability individually if you don't have responsibility for living up to that end of the bargain. And believe me, texting, emails, and other forms of communication, people think that absolves them. I've joked with you about this. Keyboard warriors.
I was going to say, like, I was thinking like, okay, so online classes have been around for a long time, but at least even with online classes, they have the interaction like what we're doing now. You can see people's reactions, you see their faces, hear their voices, those type of things. Think about how this all, for me, how this all started, internet dating.
I wouldn't know.
I mean, but that's just, I'm just thinking, I mean, I didn't participate in it either, but I'm just saying, where did that in the non-personal contact begin? People sending you different pictures of, different people.
Swipe left.
Exactly.
Swipe right.
So, I mean, I'm thinking, maybe.
We don't, hey, listen, we're too old for this mess. We don't know about swipe left, swipe right. All we know is wax on and wax off, man. That's my generation. I wax on, I wax off. I don't know. Paint the fence. I don't know about swiping.
So here's the whole thing, though. Now that it's here, I agree with you. What do we do? It's not going to disappear.
No, where do
it's
we
not
go from
going
there?
away. Yeah. How do we use this?
Are we going to become a more secluded society when it comes to stuff like that, where we're going to get to the part of I don't even have to leave my house?
Right.
When the thought is that the tech was supposed to make us more in touch, more interpersonal with you.
Yeah.
That was the thought.
Yeah.
I think in many ways it's having the exact opposite effect.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm going to say it again, in the human brain, the human mind, when you don't feel the responsibility or the necessity to abide by or live up to something you said or something you're supposed to be doing because it was just done this or done that. I mean, let's face it, like especially on social media, people say whatever the hell they want because there's no culpability and no responsibility for the consequence of stupid things they say. And so we get misinformation. And misinformation leads the way right now. People believe in things that aren't true, and it is their truth. It becomes their truth.
I'm embargoing Facebook right now. And I figured I would, kind of, be.
You embargoed Facebook?
Yeah, and I would desire going, miss that connection. People are sending me messages. Hey, you're off Facebook? Yep. Why? Well, I mean, it's just not where I want to be right now. And then,
did you implement a tariff on Facebook?
No, I mean.
Are you in a trade war?
The reason.
Are you in a trade war?
But one of the reasons why I feel bad about it is that some of the organizations and groups I belong to, I was the conduit for communication.
Sure, yeah.
And so they just have to come up with another way of doing it.
I was telling you guys before the show, I deleted my Facebook, I don't know, 8-9 months ago. And I initially did it because with our union and stuff, to keep in communication, and then it just, high school friends of mine, and it I guess for lack of a better term, it blossomed. Yeah. But what I was finding, the reason why I just totally disconnected was I found that I was glued. That was one thing, and then scrolling through everything, just a lot of for lack of a better term, the crap on there. Yeah. The keyboard warriors, for lack of a better term.
I'm trying to tell you, boy.
Yeah. I'm a member of this Nextdoor app where it kind of talks.
No.
Yeah.
Let's just say I have some fans.
Yeah, you have some fans.
I have some fans.
Yeah, but
on
and
Facebook.
reading from those your fans and my fans,
Well, hell,
just
you
reading
know,
that
you've
stuff. I
seen
know,
some stuff about
and
me.
that was
You've seen some- well, so
it got bad, and that was kind of one of the turning points. Reading this stuff,
man.
and how can somebody sit there behind a keyboard
And say.
just say these things that are they can say anything they want. Falsehoods,
Well,
they
say
can make
lies.
up.
People can
yeah,
lie.
exactly.
People can go, and I've got with you the frustration because
Yeah.
you've seen directly things that
Directly,
were
yeah.
said about me personally.
Yeah.
You
I
have.
have also.
Yeah.
Okay, and
And then people jumping on the bandwagon.
jumping. Oh man, I don't even
And
want
then
to
let's-
I just stay out of it.
I don't even want to.
Yeah, and that was one of and that whole situation, and seeing other situations when it came to the whole political scene, I disconnected. And so I figure if I want to see pictures of family or relatives or stuff like that, my wife's on Facebook. Those people can, my daughters and my son can send me pictures or whatever. But there's a part of me that kind of feels bad because there's friends of mine that they'll send me a text and go, "Hey, congratulations on your daughter getting married," and stuff like that. "Oh, hey, thanks, whatever." And then I find out, 2-3 months later, "Oh, but their children were married, but I didn't say anything, but I didn't know."
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, it's but I
I'm
just
with you this. Here's a rule that okay, so both of you, I'm still on Facebook, obviously. We're on Facebook tonight. I have my method of dealing with it. And
Yeah.
both of you have seen that I've dealt with some absolute, just lies.
oh yeah.
I hate belaboring the point, but the stuff that kind of stuck with me the most is people saying, questioning, and insinuating, lying about my service, that I was dishonorably discharged or I didn't serve at all, like a fraud, like crazy,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Because keyboard warriors, they
Yeah.
can put it down,
Yeah.
and they never have to prove it.
Then you have to defend it.
And that's
defend
okay.
yourself.
There's the problem. Therein lies the
That's-
problem.
yeah.
You have to defend yourself because in today's world, if you don't defend yourself, then you become culpable.
Well, it's just like the
Which
news.
is stupid.
It's just like the news in this day and age. When you're watching the news, you don't know what's right, what's wrong, and we talked about this last week a little bit. That you need to go and do your research.
Correct.
And people don't do that. People will sit there and they'll
No.
watch
They
NBC,
take it-
CBS,
Right.
ABC. They'll get their news from Facebook or Yahoo, whatever. Oh, that's the God's honest truth. Instead of, okay, well, that's a pretty hot topic. All right, I hear what this reporters, whatever, saying. You know what? Let me go and let me do my own research on it and formulate my decision. And that's not done. That's
isn't.
not done, and it's
So,
crazy.
we're way off on the
Yeah.
initial point, but I will say this, that, okay, so you guys both know, I watch a lot, I read a lot, right now especially. In a way, that is my job right now. That is
Yeah.
what I do.
Right.
I watch a lot of CNN, Fox, MSNBC, 3 or 4 of the main, and you're like, oh, I don't like this one, I don't give a damn. I watch them all because I have to be able to look at or watch and vet out the information myself so that I understand or know what both sides or multiple sides are saying.
right.
And then I filter out what is right and what is true out of those. And they don't all tell the truth all the damn time. Some of them hyperbolize and make it more than what it
They tell
is.
their truth.
They tell their intended
Their reality.
right, their intended truth, what they think is the truth, so that you want. And I'm going to say it. Some do it worse than others. Some do it better than others. But it's up to the individual. And this is where, you're both educators, right? I'm still an educator that way. I do believe that it's up to the informed mind, the average American, to be able to sift through the garbage, sift through the whatever, and not believe in everybody or everything, including news or a politician, 100% because they told you so.
Right.
Just because they told you so.
Yeah.
Hell, I do that on air here. I've been doing it. I tell people, check my facts. Because in the process of doing that, what are you doing? You're learning.
Right.
If and by the way, why would I challenge my audience, my listener, to check my facts? Because I know what I'm saying is the truth. And I want you, in the process of it, watch, I'm going to do a little doctor stuff on you. In the process of doing that, I'm forcing my listener, my audience, my fan, to confirm, verify, trust me, and by extension, they're also learning on their own.
Right.
They're not just listening to me, they're learning on their own, good information. They heard it here, but they're going to go verify and confirm. And when they find out it's true, guess what they're going to do? they're going to believe me even more. We've lost all that, that bit of credibility, but, okay, that's a big one. But I am interested, I mean, let's face it, let's drop that on the table. I am interested to see how social media and how that form of the quick delivery,
Yeah, the consumerism.
the fact that you can get anything, anywhere, anytime, any place, anytime you want.
Yeah.
The ease of it at your fingertips. And I'm wondering how that goes forward
Where that's
because
gonna go.
I will say this, like in my case, like I said, I've got a Facebook, I've got YouTube, I've got other social media platforms. So you know, I don't do social media on the phone, on my phone, at all. Other than what I'm doing tonight. All of my social media, I go home and sit on my computer, my laptop, and I do it there. It's not like it's like, well, what's the difference? There is a difference, trust me. It's a difference in thought and practice. It's not me on this thing on the phone. You're going to laugh about this. The only reason I'm supposed to have a damn phone is for what? To talk to someone that I need to get a hold of. I still only use my phone to talk to people. I don't do other things with it. I don't even, matter of fact, I might even go backward. I might go back to the damn phone place and get a phone that is not a smartphone.
Let's get you a flip phone.
Can you even, do they still
You
exist?
can. I think you can. I think you can.
You go on
I didn't
eBay,
know.
they're all over eBay. But
So
there's a
what-
lot of companies now that will only accept or will only let smartphones onto their network.
Correct.
Yeah, but
So-
there are some that you can.
Right.
I don't know that.
So here's why. Here's why. The very nature of it bothers me. You're gonna laugh. Don't chuckle, right? It's a smartphone. I don't need my phone to be smart. Nota bene. I need to be
understand.
smart.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, and think about this.
I need a smart tool for what I do, and
Okay,
that's
think about this though. Think about this. And here's an example. I don't use spell check at all. It's a crutch. I don't know if you guys do. I'm not trying to bust you out. Okay, I don't use spell check.
I love
I don't
it.
use grammar check at all. Because if I make a mistake, and I won't say I never make a mistake, but if I make a mistake, I want to know it and I want to catch it. It's a crutch. I'll go further. How many have used a smartphone when traveling and trying to find a destination?
Okay.
Using a map to get to some place.
Yeah.
And the smartphone leads you in like some screwy direction.
Yeah.
I don't like using a smartphone because, and I'm a little different, I'm an old military guy. I like,
I can't agree with you on this
well,
one,
you
brother.
probably won't, okay, but I like,
your own on this
okay, I like, well, so you understand my mind. I like north, south, east, and west. I like being able to look at a map only and knowing that this is the location I'm going to get to. I don't like using my phone to do these, the overall point. I don't like my phone to do all the things that I think I should be doing myself.
I got you. The only pushback I would give you is so then what you're saying is that we should have no navigation systems and we should be using, what the hell was that thing that Christopher Columbus had? What is it called?
The compass.
Oh, the thing with the stars.
The
yeah,
stars,
yeah.
yeah.
Astrolabe.
What is it called?
An astrolabe.
Astrolabe?
You're talking about out of the 1400s.
So that's so that's what you're saying. That's what we should be.
Oh, by the way,
using.
okay, so, I mean, you do realize that Egyptians and Chinese
Right, I got all
were
that.
navigating by stars a long
Right.
time ago. So I'm really
I mean,
reactionary that way.
I can navigate most places based off of north,
Yeah.
east, west,
Well, in
and
our
south.
town, right? Knowing some
But,
streets.
Yeah.
Even when I go to different places, I mean, you tell me where the sun is and where it rises.
you
I
can
mean,
figure that out, yeah.
Where the mountain ranges are. Where the
But a lot of
ocean is.
people can't
I
do
mean,
that.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
good at that,
Yeah.
but I love having my tool, so because it's about convenience for me.
I just got a
Hi.
picture of Richard and his car parked on the side of the road, and he's standing, and he's got his map, and it's on the hood of the car, and he's like, all right, he's looking at it, and Judy's in the car, hurry up, it's hot out here.
You don't even know. You don't know. So when you get a chance, because Tim works with my wife. I mean, they do some things together as a in the union. We'll be going places. My daughter and her will have their phones like get this.
Yeah.
I don't want to know it. I don't want to know it. Just show me a map.
Yeah.
I mean, literally. I said, if you want to show me the phone, show me your phone with the map.
With the map, yeah.
And the
Oh,
location.
yeah, so then you get your bearings.
That's
You
it.
know, yeah,
That's it. I said, just let me
do
see that. And I
do
don't
that.
want to hear Siri, Alexa, Pinchy, or everybody else telling me, go left. Or
In 500 feet, turn right.
In 500 feet. I don't need to hear all
But
that.
I think that connects back to what Swainbo was talking about earlier, how we do things.
You're talking about Swambo, the Reading Rambo?
Right, the Reading Rambo. But remember what his topic was about Amazon and how we're doing business with shopping. I think what we're talking about now is the same thing.
I'm going backward because I see a danger. I do see a danger. And I'm going to say this again: the spell check. That one blew me away.
No, I love spell check.
Okay,
I can't
I'm going to tell you why.
spell check.
Okay, I can. The
And
spell
grammar
check.
check? Oh, no,
The
give me
spell
that.
check blew me away a long
don't do
time
the
ago
grammar
because
check.
I find that more, definitely younger people, rely on spell check and grammar check. And guess what? They're not being taught that, or they didn't learn that. That's a problem.
Dude, my Ebonics gets in the way on a regular basis. So, I'm not. Hey, I'm just telling you the
Did he
truth.
hit me with Ebonics?
I'm just telling you.
That's like a decade ago. That's like
you
a
always
decade
teasing me
ago.
about being Dr. Darren Miller and all that kind of stuff. I told them when I went in the
I
program.
don't tease him about Dr. Doctor.
Treat me like I am special
KP,
education.
do I treat him about Dr. Doctor?
No.
Do I
But treat me like I'm special
Do I
education.
cheat, though?
Because I'm telling you right now, this academic language and all these different things you use, I'm not attuned to that. Doesn't make me less smart. It just means that the way that you interpret, the way that you do things, I got to learn that. I got to learn the content that you're trying to get me to, but also need to learn the processing. And so it's a struggle. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to get this thing done without spell check, man. Hey, here's the whole thing with spell check. You can rip through it.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go back and look at it, and it's got the squiggly line, look at something. You can go back in there and find out what the word is or whatever you. Oh, yeah, man, that's a tool. Give me my tool.
When I was in the class, and this goes back to the early 2000s, late 90s when I was in the class, if someone might be watching tonight, some of my former students, I was a stickler. I'm a history teacher. And we did a lot of papers.
Yeah.
And I wasn't just assigning papers, I corrected. I had my red pen.
That's why I'm not a teacher today.
And watch this. When I had my red pen and I got their papers in, I went to work on that ass. Because, I looked at it, this is like something religious to me.
Yeah.
You will be better in your grammar, in your spelling, in your punctuation, in everything, in your spelling, when you're done with my class. You will know what the mistakes are. What you do with that knowledge is up to you going forward. Because you and I both know, all of you guys know, the two of you, you can't change everything as an educator. And you're not going to get every kid to be better about all of those things in writing, especially as a history teacher, by the way. A lot of history teachers don't teach that anymore, even though I thought it was necessary because it's writing, it's in my class. I did that. I don't want any kid walking out of my class saying, well, I don't know, I never got taught that. No, you got taught. You were taught, you were instructed, you were informed. If you choose not to be better about your spelling, grammar, etc., then that is entirely on you. You make that choice. But I did correct for all that. So I'm a little hard-headed about
English
that.
is the worst language.
I'm still stuck on you bringing up the Ebonics thing.
I'm
Man.
just
That was like
telling
20
you,
years
but that's
ago.
all- Ebonics is no different than like with our Hmong brothers and sisters. Remember, they didn't become a written language until the 50s, I believe it was. Everything they did before that was all oration. It was all
Correct.
verbal. Those type of things, or pictures. It was not based off of ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and those type of things. And so our history is about being verbal. And so literate. That's what Ebonics is all about. It's a matter of coming up with being able to effectively communicate.
Correct.
Nothing more than, when you become a second language learner, whatever your primary language is when you come to the United States, how do you learn how to communicate? But when you start talking about the WHs and
I before E,
I
except
before
for
E's,
C,
except,
after.
so English to me is crazy.
Except after.
Yeah. And chief and chieftain. Isn't chief and chief and chieftain?
All right. So
I remember all the rules and stuff, but I'm just telling you, if English was not my primary language,
It's a tough
it would be tough, man,
it's a tough
to make that
language.
adjustment. Learning Spanish, because an A is always an A. I could probably write a pretty good Spanish paragraph or two because I know, but I know the rules of Spanish.
Do you know that rule?
That's Ebonics. That's but that's I don't know what you would call it in Spanglish. That's Spanglish.
Exponics.
So but because I know the rules of Spanish, I'm gonna struggle through it. But at least I think I could write a paragraph to be able to communicate by using my tools.
Yeah. Well, is it potato or potato?
Right.
The English language, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. and this is wild that we're talking about this, because one of my things I was looking at is, our trends in education, how the pendulum swings. And when we were in school, it was, procedural, and we learned about all the rules and all this stuff, and we did all that. Then we started getting into the critical thinking stuff. And now in education, they're so focused on the critical thinking,
right.
but with
Process.
but all the processes and all the procedures, and so it's that whole pendulum. And so I know we've talked about this when we were doing our high school model, and that we needed procedures, we needed the procedural, and we needed to teach the basics, and then get into the
That's it,
critical.
something as a base.
As a base, and then build
base.
upon that.
Because I know we did something. So we for a while there,
Our
Tim and I-
utopian high school.
we constructed, not perfect, but I mean, a hell of a lot better than what, I can tell you, between he and I and probably you, if we put together a high school, it'd be a hell of a lot better than most, right?
I want to start high school though, man. I've learned my lesson with that. You got to start before they get into
You are
school.
correct, you are correct, but I mean,
Early
in our
education
particular,
stuff.
in our
Yeah.
particular mess, Tim's and I, Central Unified, the elementaries do well. They're not like bad uniformly. It's in the cursus honorum, the honorable way, the good way of an education in our school district, K through 12. It begins to tail off once you get to middle school, which, he was an administrator for, a site admin principal.
It starts at
It
the middle
begins
school,
at middle
but then it
school,
really
and then-
hits hard at the high school.
Then when it gets to high school, our numbers tail off big time.
Huge.
Massive, to where we can be competitive, like with any school district in the region. But once it gets to middle school, and then definitely by high school, we tail off significantly, and we're mediocre at best.
And you're talking
Academics.
outcomes.
Academics.
Outcome.
Academics, specifically,
yeah.
specifically. And so those are big issues. So that's why we were talking about how would we construct, and for our area, but in general, these things that you think would be ideal, procedural, things that would be laid down as a base for the average student, the average administrator to come in and not try to reinvent the wheel, but use tried, true methods, not throw the baby out with the bathwater, because some people do, though. Some people do, but you get some new hotshot assemblyman or some new whatever, administrator, somewhere in that chain, and they alter things, and now teachers in the classroom have to go reshift their methodology or their pedagogy to accommodate what the state wants, or
It's the whole pendulum thing.
and it doesn't
One
stop.
other thing, I'm not going to get on that.
I'll tell you what, let's stop.
I'll leave that.
We'll stop there,
talk
'cause
about
we'll be there all
education
night.
another time.
We might have to do a show where it's just us talking about education, because, you guys are all
Because
educators.
education is disconnected right now, and so
It is.
I would love to have a
It is.
conversation about that.
So I'm going to do this, because for the sake of time, even though we're going to end up over, my first one was political contention, but I think we kind of touched on it a little bit. Contention in the sense that, to go with what you were saying, I do believe, because you triggered that point, and I said there's no way that the three of us don't talk about some issue that's related in some capacity. But there was definitely more optimism at the beginning of the tens. And, I don't care where you are politically on the spectrum, but yes, having a brother get elected, a black man get elected, a minority, any minority, as the first president of the United States ever, I was optimistic. And I think in general, the country as a whole, even if not a percentage of it wasn't, but there was optimism. But I'm going to say that 2020, I don't think that same optimism there. And I'm not talking about the minority issue. I'm just saying, we really genuinely don't know what the hell's going to happen this 2020 cycle. It's going to blow up. And I've been telling people for the last year and a half, as long as I've been on air, back to radio, it's going to get ugly. And I think we're seeing it. It's going to get uglier.
Yeah.
And I genuinely concern myself, this goes to my point, on political contention. I think the parties are going to eat each other alive. Because, and watch this is prescient. I don't see any way not to. I don't see any way the parties don't eat each other alive, because one party will not back down, therefore the other party cannot back down. And they will obliterate each other and beat the hell out of each other. That's political contention. I'm going to say it, I see no way around it. And I'm going to tell you this is ugly. Sometimes you got to cut to the bone to get to what's real.
Well, I think politically, we were at the bone.
I'm going to tell you what.
We're at the bone.
And this ain't even funny, but it's like Mohammed bin Salman with the bone saw on Port Khashoggi. They're going to cut through the bone. I do. I'm going to say it, and I don't want to be too ugly here, but I think it's going to get really, really ugly. And people are like, it already is ugly, right?
Agreed.
It already is.
Yeah, it's going to get worse.
But you can quote me here. There are already constitutional norms that are being obliterated. There are going to be things that are done that we have never seen before. It's like already. There's more. We're a big body. We're a big people. We're a big country. We're a big concept right out of the Enlightenment period of the 1600s and the 1700s. That means that there's a lot to play with in concept. And it's not been done yet. There's more. It's going to get uglier. That's my ugly political contention.
I just believe we'll get through it. Now we don't know what on the other end
What the
is. We
back
don't-
end's gonna be.
We don't know how
I don't
much,
think anybody
how
can know
much
that.
bone is going to get cut through and those type of things.
Yeah.
You can't predict that, but I'm confident that we're going to get through it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm quite sure the people when they're the Roaring '20s, when we had the crash of the stock market and all those things, people probably had the same types of despair. How are we going to get through this? What's going to happen with this? And it took some time and some changes, but I believe that, you know, the U.S. people, for all of our frailties and all of our faults, we're very resourceful.
Very strong,
And I think we'll get
resilient.
through it. Here's another example I'll give you. This whole deal that happened with Iran and the muscle and the posturing and those type of things. If I were to slap you upside the head right now, guess what you're going to do? You might not slap me immediately back, but you're going to find a point in time
Reaction.
where you're going to slap me back. And because we're boys,
Reaction.
we may not be agreeable to this, but tit for tat, and we're not going to turn it into, you know, a race riot or our friendship busting up. And I saw that kind of happen with this. As bad as this, somebody was saying that this is our current day. Not Bay of Pigs. What was it?
Benghazi.
No. In the 50s with
Bay of
Kennedy.
Pigs.
Was that what it
Bay
was?
of
The Bay of
Pigs.
Pigs, where they had the
Early
the-
60s.
Oh, yeah, with Cuba.
the Cuban,
Early
the
60s.
Cuban Missile
The Cuban Missile
crisis.
yeah.
So they're saying that this is our Cuban Missile crisis. That where we're staring down at Russia. Hey, you're going to get those things off of there. Russia's no, we're not. You can't make us. Okay, so let me flip open this button. If you're not gone, this is what's going to happen. We sit down, cooler heads, whatever the back channels were, or however they worked it out, it was able to be resolved. And everybody saved face. We have the same exact thing right now, what's going on. Now, it's not done. We still got to account for that plane that got shot down.
Kind of true.
You know, we found out today, there's
But
information that there was
tell-
a second
right.
mission.
I'll tell you
we
this.
missed on. I mean, there's all kind of things that are still
Kind of
happening.
true, and because I've been monitoring all that, like I was not happy. Matter of fact, I didn't go on air Tuesday night because
It's not
here's the
done.
thing. I was going on air. I called KP and said I can't go on air. Because I'll tell you why. Because I can't go on air not knowing how many lives we've lost. Or I was just pissed. I was pissed. I mean, like, I
About-
wanted to slap some.
but
about the fact we got to that point.
Which point? You're talking about when
When-
Iran was firing the
Yes, when they
okay,
shot missiles
them
on
back.
us.
Okay.
And I don't want to have to go to this too, because we're not talking about that tonight.
got
but
you.
I will go to this. I mean, let's do the obvious. What everybody here on the news is like, okay, yeah, Soleimani was not a saint. He was a bad guy. Here's the problem, and it is a problem, and I don't give a damn who disagrees with it or not, including the president. If you want to grease every bad guy on the planet, go for it. Go do it. You're going to have to wipe out and execute, and I'll say execute, Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, Guaido in Venezuela. I can go on and on. There's a whole bunch of them
But you know what?
that do dirty.
But you know what the difference is with that, right? When you're going after those people that you just named, it's not that you're going after those people. You also you're going after that country that they represent.
And that's my point.
That's
to you.
different than Bin Laden. That's different
Correct.
than the
Okay,
other
and
dude
that's
they
my
just
point.
got.
Because this guy Soleimani
Right.
he is a foreign head of state.
Yeah, he's a state official.
Okay, he was second in their government. My point is, you can't go greasing
Right.
whoever the hell you don't like. To your point, right? You said, okay, I'm going to slap you upside the head. You can't just go hitting people upside the head because you don't like them or disagree with them. You can't go executing people just because you don't like them or disagree with them. Especially, and I'm going to say this, especially when it's a foreign official head of state. You're right. Bin Laden was not.
He wasn't attached to,
Okay.
to a state.
Yes,
He was from a particular state,
There
but
are
he wasn't a-
terrorists
yeah.
that we've taken out, and you can make the argument that Putin is a terrorist. So is Kim Jong Un.
So
I still have major
there's
issue.
the guy that just got killed by Iran. I mean, the operations, some of the operations that he oversees,
Well, legitimately. And that's my point. That's my point.
No.
You can classify him. You can classify him as a terrorist.
Hamas.
Hamas, Hezbollah.
I'm sorry, not Hamas.
Hezbollah.
The secular Hezbollah.
Yeah.
Now, he oversees that. It's an Iranian operation, and he oversees, and it is terroristic in its actions.
Okay, so there are. Here's the thing: when you begin to quantify or qualify terrorists and terrorist organizations, I'm telling you what I can do. If I'm the president right now, I want that dude gone. I want that dude gone. Oh, they're head official. They're a head of state. I don't give a damn. They're terrorists. They're killing my people. Here's an example.
But that's when
Did anybody,
diplomacy comes in.
I know that, you know that. Okay, but my point is, it's already been done. So, you brought up that issue. I won't talk about it. I'll be here all night. But Kim Jong-un, that kid, Warmbier, Otto Warmbier.
Oh, yeah, the one that got the lashes.
Okay, that kid was tortured.
Yeah, he was beaten
in North Korea.
to death. Yeah.
Beaten.
Yeah.
They sent us a shell of a life, and he died. That was a United States citizen.
Well, what about...
And what the hell have they done about that poor kid?
What about Bonesaw? There's another one.
Okay, you're giving us, those are all my points.
Right.
If we go greasing everybody that does something to us,
Right.
and I'm the first to say, I will stand in a line and go get shot at for my damn country. But if we go whacking out and executing everybody that we think is a terrorist or we think is bad, there won't be anybody left on the damn planet other than us.
Including us.
Including us, because then you know what happens after that? The rest of the world will say,
Because Cheney would be on that list. George Bush, my man Obama, some of the stuff he did with the
everybody in
drone
some way
attacks.
or another.
I mean,
Yeah.
our list would be
We
long.
could start listing all kinds of politicians.
And that's my
Yeah.
point. So there have to be some hard lines drawn. You don't get the right to just grease whoever the hell you want because you don't like them or because you have an election cycle coming up. That's the problem. And the minute we go down that road, it's an ugly road for America because then we're no longer the shining city on the hill. We're the bully on the hill. That's I don't. It's another foreign policy issue, but I do worry about that. I have no problem with projecting our strength. I have no problem with protecting our people. And damned if I have anybody that'll question me personally on protecting me or my people, my country. But there comes a point when you can no longer just do whatever the hell you want because you're so powerful. Right. That's a problem. And that's a problem for us as a country. That's a problem going into the 20s. If we continue to exercise our power that way, we're going to find ourselves less and less with friends, and we're going to be the big bully that's beating the hell out of everybody. And you know what happens to a bully after a while? They get their ass whipped.
Or they get back into a situation where now they're making bad decisions. You know, just because you got a gun, that doesn't mean that you're always going to use it. Right. And you keep showing it and showing it and showing it. Eventually, somebody's going to push you into a situation where now you got to use it.
You got to use it.
And then all the consequences come along with that. Yeah. So you ready
That's
for my feel good? You ready for my
go.
Let me switch gears.
Give me a feel good.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit.
Hold on.
So you know what my number two is?
Can the doctor make me feel good?
I'm going to make you think.
Can we get some doctor?
Let's get some Motley Crue going here.
There we go.
Motley Crue!
That's the Thompson twins, man.
Yeah.
The Thompson twins.
Doctor.
Oh, I thought we were going to say that was Cyndi Lauper, but okay, no.
But that was the hairdo.
That's back in the Roosevelt days, man.
Exactly. Okay, so here's my number two, which is a world event. And you probably have never even thought about it.
Uh-oh.
But here's some. Hit
me.
There's reverberations that affects the whole entire world. When Prince Harry married Meghan Markle.
Megxit?
No, I mean, think about it. I mean, people really don't think about it. It was a feel-good story and those type of things.
Yeah.
But look,
There was a lot of coverage
look
for
at
it.
what look, they're in trouble right now.
Look at what's going on right now.
Because they're doing things differently.
Yeah.
And I am. The interesting part for me is it would be very easy for Prince Harry to say, "Hey, look, this is my bloodline," and this thing. But he's not doing that. He's siding with the American-born sister,
With this woman.
with his woman.
Yeah.
And he's willing to take the consequences that goes along with that. So that's shaking up. That's got to shake up what's going on with that English monarchy. I understand there's a tiff between him and his brother.
Isn't that stiff upper lip?
So I mean, I don't know what's going to be the result.
Is it
of
going to
that.
last?
Is it going to? Yeah,
Is
exactly.
it gonna last?
Is she going to be a scourge?
Hey, we're going to be in bad shape here.
Yeah.
We're going to lose all the women on our show. Because you know why? Because women want to believe that stuff's going to be
But
good.
look at what happened to his mom. I mean, but
Well, yeah,
his mother was seen
Man,
also.
you putting that out this early?
I'm just
Oh,
telling you, it's
man.
a feel-good story that we don't know what all the ramifications are, and it's still playing out today.
Yeah, it is.
And I think that it's going to be one of those situations that when we get to 2030, we're probably still going to be talking about what's going on with the monarchy and what's happening with because Queen Elizabeth probably is not going to see 2030, right?
How do you know? That old lady has lasted.
yeah, but-
She's in her
But,
90s now, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, she's 94 years old.
So that's 104.
I don't know.
Let's just put it this way. I wouldn't put money against that old lady. She's badass.
So but what's going to happen with the monarchy? I mean, how does this marriage, this union,
Right.
shake up the monarchy?
It does, but I will say this.
How did America get
long,
affected by
watch
it?
this, so long as the queen is alive, God willing, so long as the queen is alive, I don't think it changes the monarchy. I think it's still, she's the monarch. I think it'll alter, or there might be something significant once she's gone.
Harry's a younger brother, older
He's the younger brother.
He's the younger.
He's not
brother.
direct in line. He
Okay.
is in line, but he's not direct because his brother, his older brother, is
Right.
first to the throne. So, and I'm with you. I get your point. I don't think there will be some this and that. There'll be plenty for tabloids to talk about, right? But it's not going to change until Queen Elizabeth's gone.
Agreed.
I don't think it
agree.
changes
Yeah.
because that lady is like, she is a living, breathing rock of stability, not just for that country, but I'll say it to you, I'm a historian. I think historically, she is a living vestige,
Yeah.
example of the strength and resolve of the World War II generation.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because she is a
That's when
direct
she came
result.
into prominence, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's
out of
right.
World War II, you know, she's alive, and she wasn't queen, you know, yet, you know, it was her pop. And out of that era, you have this lady come out of, she's a rock, man. She is a damn rock. No matter what goes on, she remains the same. So my point is that I don't think this alters until she passes or she's gone, God willing, she stays a long time. But I wouldn't be surprised if she's here for another decade. She is a tough old lady, and she's active. She's busy. She's engaged. She's not like, she's not on her phone.
Yeah. Well, and also think about this. Think about the whole
I got a crush on her. I got a crush.
You like the older ladies.
Yeah, my wife's gonna hear that.
Yeah, well, that's, you know.
Hey, I got a thing.
I know.
I got a thing for older
I do
women
too.
that
I
are
do too.
strong,
Mine, yeah.
that are strong
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
can handle their
Yeah.
business. Because let's face it, there are a lot of women from the past that they come from a different time, and it's not like without the, you know, like a Me Too movement or women's rights. These are the ladies that advocated and laid down the strength to get to women's rights.
Sure, yeah.
And they're the example of how young women can balance their newfound ability to do anything, do whatever, but still be a bedrock within a family or a community. I'm going to say it. I have a massive crush on her because she is, I'm going to say it again.
I don't know a whole bunch about the monarchy and Queen Elizabeth.
I do.
It's
know that.
becoming
I
more
know
and
the
more. It's becoming
generality
more and more popular because of this.
Queen.
Because of this storybook.
The
These
Queen-
these love
isn't it-
stories with
isn't
the
it the
brother
Queen?
and Kate, and then now with
They got
Harry
that
and the girl.
series also, the Crown. They have that,
Oh, yeah.
that's a
Oh, yeah.
series
Yeah.
that's on right
Okay,
now,
so
The
full
Crown.
disclosure, I have not watched it. My wife watched
I know
it. My
about it. I
wife,
don't
my
wa-
wife has watched it religiously. I'm going to get to it in my good time. My last point to you to this, so we can go to the next one. But she is, I mean, and because I have, in general, I have a crush on Queen Elizabeth. There you go, for the record, right? But I have a crush on that time period and the strength of that generation to pull us through and get us through and create a free and safe world, which goes back to some of the earlier points.
Sure.
For 70 plus years,
Yeah.
that generation kept our asses safe. I mean, us, right? We didn't live at that time. But that generation put together a world and a world order. Oh, well, there's this and there's that, and there are all these damn conspiracies. I don't give a damn. People aren't dying in World War III for 70 plus years because those people held their shit together. I'm sorry, I went a little off there, but they held it together, and they built a world that the rest of us can grow and free. And yeah, we have an Iran situation. We have some here or there, but we haven't had World War III. Where's World War III? NATO, Queen Elizabeth, other people out of that generation of that era, they gave us the best damn world that we can possibly imagine. And then all we do is screw things up. That's why I have a crush on Queen Elizabeth. Because, and I'm going to say it, that'll be badass if she goes another 10 years.
I'll be impressed.
If she
Although
does-
people are living, the centurions.
They are.
Yeah,
They are.
people
They're
are living longer.
Yeah.
If she lives, full disclosure, full quote. if she lives another 10 and she gets to another decade, I will do another show dedicated just to Queen Elizabeth and send her.
You may not want to wait that long.
I said, all my homeboy love, all the homeboy love from out west. What's up, lady? Got number love for you. Te quiero, te quiero.
I wonder if she shops on Amazon.
Who knows?
I wonder if she shops at all.
Right, but listen, that lady, here's the thing. She's really engaged day to day.
Yeah.
She's active. She's busy. So, and that's what you need to last a long time,
Right,
live a
right,
long
right.
life,
Yep.
is be engaged, be active, and be healthy.
Yep.
Okay,
All right.
where are we at? Is it me? You?
I think it's me.
Swain.
Go.
Okay, so I've got a couple, but in the essence of time, I'm going to focus on renewable energy.
There you go.
Look at
There you go.
the onset of solar power, electric cars, all the different energies that are coming out. And for me, looking at this last decade, I'm excited to, all right, how is our world in this next 10 years, how is it going to look? We have huge amounts of solar panels in this community. I'm one of them. I was never, oh shoot, I'll just pay my PG&E bill. And I was kind of forced to a situation to where, all right, I drove a big gas guzzling truck. I was paying $400 or $500 a month in gas, and it was just hitting me
You still have
hard.
a truck?
I still have it. It's a work truck now. It's like I have to go to Home Depot and and get a sheet of plywood or something. And so I was doing a lot of research, and I was like, maybe I should get an electrical car. And then I was like going, well, how electricity is pretty tough. Pretty high, and so looking at the whole solar and getting that whole thing together, I got it dialed in at my house where I've got solar, I've got my electric car, and I'm just at the beginning of it. And there's so many people that are creating all of these different new renewable energies. I'm excited to see. Okay, we are an oil dominant nation. We are producing, and we're touting that. We're saying, we're becoming one of the world's, biggest producing oil nations in the world, and we're dependent on it as well. And we have, and that's going to run out.
It's non-renewable.
It's not renewable. People
Let's
don't
just
understand that comes from the ground. That comes from all the decay of all of the stuff millions and millions and millions of years ago. There's only so much of that stuff that you can use.
Right.
And so I'm really excited at looking at, okay.
Well, I'll add, hold for a second, to underscore the point. We keep doing that. We keep using. It's non-renewable. That's a finite source.
Right.
There's only so much oil or so much of that petroleum you can find on a planet, right? And let's get macro here. There's only so much on a planet.
Right.
We're using that. We're not replenishing it.
Nope.
And our population is increasing.
It's
so
growing.
the demand,
Yeah.
the demand for it increases.
Here's a statistic that I heard the other day. Just take, let's say, Saudi Arabia or Iran or one of those Middle East countries, producing millions of barrels of oil a day. Not a year, not every 5 years, a day. And we're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And fracking and all that stuff. And it's there's a lot of people that are saying that, oh, well, with our oil exploration, that fracking is now causing earthquakes and this and that. It's going to come to a time
Correct.
where you're going to be pressing that nozzle at the gas station and nothing's coming out. And so I'm excited as to the advent of solar, electricity, there was hydrogen, there's all these different new technologies that are coming out. What's going to happen in 10 years? There's a lot of car companies now, like Volvo is one, that has said that they're looking at just completely eliminating cars that run on gas, and they're hitting electricity. Now, there's naysayers that are saying, well, electricity is generated using coal-fired plants and stuff like that. I get that, but more and more of our sources of electricity are coming from the sun. What, in 2025, is it going to be where you no longer need a sun? You can generate off of these lights in the studio or something.
Remember the wind and
the wind and so there's all these different things that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of excited this was a trend in the last 10 years, I got on that trend, and I just kind of want to see where it goes. I'm excited for it.
Look
to
at
see
all the
what
high schools in the area. When you drive by a high school,
They have the
Fresno,
parking lots and
Clovis,
all the...
Fresno City
Yeah.
Colleges did theirs.
It's to the point where if
Fresno
you're a school
State,
system and
right.
if you're not doing solar, something's wrong with you.
Something's
But I
wrong
mean,
with
the,
it.
the thing about it is that those are the industries that kind of drive and move things, at least here in Fresno.
Right.
And if you see them at schools, there's a bunch of lower income houses over where my parents live. People are installing solar.
Well, I
just-
think now, I believe, just started January 1 of this year, that every new construction has to have
right.
solar. Now,
Yeah.
that's going to increase the cost of the house, but I
over
think
a long period of time.
But in the long
Yeah.
run, though,
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, my PG&E bill right now is gas, natural gas. That's what my PG. I pay probably $10 in electricity charges right now, which is just transmission charges, whatever. I have my car. I charge my car. I can't remember the last time I filled up in gas, honestly. Fresno City College, Clovis Community, now they have all the solar panels with the parking lots, and now they have chargers. So I'll go
State
to
Center, the whole
yeah, the
system.
whole yeah.
The whole
So
system
I'll
of
go
State
when I
Center
go
is
when I
doing that.
teach at night. I plug my car in, so I'm no longer really plugging in.
How
the
does, never mind. I'll ask you that offline because I don't have an electrical car. I need to get one, but
Yeah.
I've always wondered, how does that work? Is it on a credit card? How do you
charge?
when you're charging your vehicle? How do you do that? Where does that cost come in?
If you're out in a public space, you can have like an app which has an account. You can use your credit
Oh, okay.
card.
Okay.
You can do that.
Okay.
But at the community colleges, it's all free.
Oh, wow.
I drive up. I park.
Well, that makes
and
sense, though.
plug it in. It's all free because they've got tons and tons of panels out there.
But
They're
what are you fighting for spaces or no?
right now, no.
But it will be.
But it will be, because I think
sometime.
right now, their chargers are very minimal. They have I think Fresno City College has 6, Clovis Community has 4, so they're going to have
Fresno
to,
State has got a couple.
they've got some out,
Yeah.
yeah, they have some as well. So I'm just excited to see where we're
Interesting.
going to go and hopefully get away from the oil companies dictating to us.
They're going to fight like hell.
Oh, they
Yeah,
already are.
because it's in the
They
interest
already
of-
are.
Because
It's money.
So where are a lot of our politicians who are making the decisions
Where they're
about
getting their money
changing,
from.
Where are they getting their
oil
payment?
companies. Oh,
A lot of them
the
is out of
oil lobbyists are-
Right.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
if I were a politician, I'd tell them to go to hell. That's why I
That's
can't get
probably why you're not in politics.
Yeah, that's right.
It's hard as hell to get in office.
Yeah.
You like that setup, right? I was like, that's why. But, with you 100%, and I think let's again underscore the point. The point is this: the non-renewable forms of energy, it's just long term. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a guy the other day, and I was watching a show too, and it's like you pointed it out. It is ultimately, on a political, on a financial spectrum, right? There's a lot of money there, and it has been made. I mean, generations of wealth have been from out of the Rockefellers in particular. Literally out of the 1860s and 70s, up to now.
The Bushes are a big oil family, too.
A lot of them.
There's a lot of them.
You go back, you go 150 plus years. So
Although Junior
natural
he
gas
couldn't get
is,
oil in Texas.
yeah, natural gases
Was it
and oil.
Zapata?
Yeah.
Was it Zapata, their oil company that went under? It was a CIA front, but I think it was Zapata Oil. Whatever his company was that went belly up. I don't know how you can't get oil in Texas.
Here's the thing. It's going to take another generation. It's kind of something for me later, but it's going to take a generation of younger people, our age and younger. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
Our age and younger.
Oh, younger
To
than
say,
us.
okay, we know what it was. You're an example. We know what it needs to be.
Right.
Because here's the problem. The dichotomy is this. We know what it has been. We know what it needs to be, but will we have the strength of character to act in a fashion that moves us that way? Because it's just stupid. This is non-renewable. You cannot forever take stuff out of the ground and expect it to replenish itself. So in an increasingly larger population that has greater need, the need is exponential. It continues to grow and mount. It's not going to shrink.
No.
The one thing that I do know that is also exponential in energy output is the sun. The sun's going to be here long after we're gone, long
Right.
after our civilization will be here. That's the one thing I do know will never go away, and it is renewable.
Same thing with wind.
And
Wind,
correct.
water.
But the sun by itself is the greatest power generator
Correct.
Yeah.
in the solar system that we have access to, that we can tap into and use. And it's just stupid not to. It's, and I'll say it, I don't like getting to, blasting people, but the reason we have oil and gas in the traditional forms, natural and, in the tank, the way we do is it's out of self-interest. If Nikola Tesla had his way, we would all have energy for free. And he was working on a method to have energy for free, and he got out-hustled and out-maneuvered and out-moneyed because he was a good guy that did the right thing, and he didn't get elected like me.
He was focused on DC power, I think, instead of AC
There's
power.
AC and DC, alternating current and
He's at the turn of the century, right?
Yeah.
no, or
Yeah, he was,
out of the 1900s into the 20th century.
Yeah,
So
there was him and Edison.
right, and there was that battle, and
they were-
there was really good information on Tesla, but his fundamental was this: he saw energy and electric energy in particular as something that was a natural resource,
Right.
and that could be tapped for the entire population, where the whole world's lit up,
Right.
and you're not paying anything
Right.
for it because it's a natural resource. And I'm going to sound a little reactionary when the people are like, well, you're kind of a hard right guy about something, and I'm hard left on other issues. On this one, if I had my way, nobody on this planet would pay for energy. Because there are ways, there are methods, we have the scientific capability to give everybody energy.
Oh, yeah.
Enough energy to last a lifetime and beyond, without going into the ground to pull stuff out.
Yeah, I agree.
And if we did that, guess what? It would free us up, and there'd be one less bill. And we wouldn't have to worry about it, but it'd make a lot less for millionaires or billionaires. Okay, moving on. My turn?
Yep.
KP, do you have the image of the...
Yes.
Okay, let's pull that one up. Okay, this is my image, and let's leave it there for a second while I talk. This is a father and his daughter. You've got the upper right image. It was a family, father, wife, and a daughter. And I posted this when it happened a while ago during this year. And it is ugly, but I'm gonna bring the light and the good to it as much as we can. But it was a young family, and they weren't Mexican. I think they're all Salvadoran or another Central American country. They were crossing the river. The young, I want to say dad. I mean, he's a kid, man. I mean, he's a kid. Look at him.
Yeah.
He's a little young guy. He tried to swim across and bring the daughter across. He took the daughter across the river. The wife was on this side. He swims across, takes the daughter, puts her on the other bank, on the U.S. bank, goes back for the wife. The daughter jumps in back,
Going after dad.
After dad.
Okay.
and they both drown.
Yeah.
All right, KP. And they both drown, and the wife watches while they drown. So, like, why am I putting it up? Well, here's my thing. Here's my issue. It's good and bad. But that one kind of staggered me, because that, that, and for the simple, obvious reasons, right? I mean, I don't know, like, I got to do the ancestry thing. Somebody recommended I do ancestry, not the other one. So I'm a little bit of a lot. I identify as Mexican American, a little Italian on my mom's side, and some other things, some Navajo on my grandma's side, on my dad's. I got a lot of everything, like a lot of people do. But I have no doubt that I've had relatives that came across that border, legally and illegally. And that could have very easily been, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, my whatever. And here's the thing. Regardless of what you believe in terms of an immigration policy, regardless of that, I want to strike, a hardcore chord coming out of this decade right here, the 10s, going into the 20s. We are going to go into 250 years. We're at 243 plus right now. We'll go to during this decade, we'll go to 250 years of nationhood. And I will say that we are a nation of immigrants. And that is what has made us the best in the world. Because we weren't monolithically one ethnicity, one religion, one this, one that, one anything. We were not. If you read the Constitution and really read it, they made a document to address tapping the potential of all kinds of different people from all over the damn world. And I'll say this, that dad and that daughter would probably have come to this country. He would have worked his ass off. The daughter would have grown up and been something incredible, and they would have contributed to the American fabric. And I want to put on air right now, if in this country you can't appreciate the fact you live in the greatest country on the damn planet, the greatest country the world has ever seen, because that's where we are after 243 plus years, there are people dying right now just to try to get into the damn place. And some of you sit on your ass and are lazy and don't give a damn, and you expect everything handed to you and given to you. White, black, blue, brown, green, rich, poor, especially on the rich end, get shit handed to them. And you have people dying just to try to live here. That image right there just like struck the hell out of me. I just couldn't believe it, because that's the American fabric. That's who we are.
Yeah.
We're all these different colors, shapes, sizes, and peoples, and you have people dying, literally still dying, to try to get here. And we have people in this country that can give a damn less about their citizenship status or what their privileges are and what they get handed to them every damn day. They live in the greatest country on the planet. They don't care. They take advantage of our system. When you have people that would come to this and contribute to the system, I don't see those people there. Like, I'll tell you right now, that kid and that young family would have contributed to this society. So that one broke me up and bust me up. I was like, oh damn, man, that's ugly. And then it just like news cycle washed away. It was like no big deal. Yeah. But I'm gonna leave it at that. But people still die, literally die, for the American dream, And I want to make sure that I'm crystal clear on that. You need to appreciate what the hell you have. You need to appreciate what you have in this country and where we've come from. And as a history teacher, and this will be my last little piece here, read your damn Constitution and know your history. Read the Constitution and know your damn history. Because it's becoming a joke right now that the average American really doesn't understand the principles upon which this damn thing was founded. There's my piece. We can move on if you want. That one busted me up. You got one next?
Yeah.
That's a lot. That was heavy, but that one hurt, man. That one hurt me.
My next two are of interest, but I mean, yeah, I ditto. I agree with everything that you just said. That there are people who are losing their lives to come
just to try to get here.
To try to get here and be part of what we've got going on. Yeah, so I mean, I'll just leave it there. I don't think I can add anything else to that.
It's not a bad or a good. It's just like a statement of fact.
So, I'm telling you, I'm gonna double up on these, and it's gonna have nothing.
Good one. Good one. Give me a good one.
Nothing to do with.
People
Okay,
are like,
so here's my last two. Now these are of personal interest to me.
Okay.
Okay, I think one other thing that I'm not quite sure what the impact of it is. Two things, is the Pope quitting.
Oh.
Pope Benedict stepping down. I'm not part of Catholicism, so I'm not quite sure. He's the only one that I recall stepping down from that power.
Yeah.
How does that play out in Catholicism and the outreaches in the international community? And then the other thing on the domestic side is the Patriots being involved in 5 Super Bowls. Okay, I hate the Patriots, by the way.
Me too.
Okay, I'm not a Patriots fan at all, but you have to say they were in 5 of 10 Super Bowls, and I think they won 3, 2 or 3 they've won. Yeah. They've won 9 in 2 decades.
Yeah.
6. They've got 6 total.
So they've been in 9. They've played in 9 and they've won 6. There you go. And that's coming to a close.
Yeah.
That run has happened. So now at the end of that run, what are we finding out? That maybe some of that run was helped with through other means, other things going on. So how does that play out in what goes on in sports in America? Tom Brady, is he going to remain a Patriot or is he going to break the bank?
Right.
There's a possibility. They said that dude could get $35 million a year if he goes to San Diego Chargers.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll piggy on.
So how does all of that impact? Because with professional athletics, I think that is one of the outliers that has really screwed up our society.
Good point. Okay, so what I'm going to say is like, I'm going to piggy.
What's the impact of
I'm
all
going
of
to piggy.
that? Yeah.
I don't give a rat's less about Brady where he goes. I really don't. Okay, but I think your most salient point for me, because it's a larger issue. Okay, a big issue, and we could probably do a show on just this one. We've all been around sports.
Right.
We've all coached or we've been a part of it. All of us in education. Oh man, I got to tell you, I don't see it as like fundamentally making us better as a people at the back end of it all.
I think it's got all of our priorities out of whack.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
What if we compensated teachers, educators, who is all of our lives, no matter where we come from. If you're in the United States, up until about the age of 12, you're going to be in somebody's schoolhouse.
Correct.
What if we compensated those people, those guidance, the teachers,
So let me
those other folks
walk back
involved
up
at the same rate we do with our athletes?
So let me walk back up to the macro. Then maybe you take the teacher end. The macro is this for me. You brought up the point that okay, so the New England Patriots, they've won 6 Super Bowls, and they're tied for the Steelers, tied with the Steelers for the most all time. I don't doubt that they've cheated. I don't doubt it at all. And now that you have, you see in Major League Baseball, and I'm a Dodger guy. I'm a Dodger fan. I grew up on Dodgers. Yeah. So my pop is what I grew up with. I'm a SoCal guy initially, but the Astros cheated. And they cheated. They had their pitchers and some others came out and basically said this is what they did and this is how they did it.
I haven't heard about that.
Okay, they cheated, and the Red Sox did too, in 2 successive World Series. And guess
Cheated
what?
how? Stealing signs?
Stealing signs, using technology
there's a big
to
thing
get
of stealing signs.
Basically,
I
they
haven't
knew,
heard-
okay, so they basically knew what Kershaw was pitching.
Yeah, they knew
Here's how they did it.
They knew
Like this.
what the pitch was coming up.
Yeah, they would they would do this, or they'd stop, and they would know if it's a 1 or a 2 coming.
Okay, that's cool. But even no, it's not.
No,
here's
it's
the,
not.
Here's the difference between baseball and
No, it's
here's
not.
the difference between baseball and football. Okay, you tell me it's a 100-mile-an-hour fastball coming out of Kershaw's left hand. You still got to hit that joker. Football is different.
Yeah.
Football, you can deal with tendencies. You're dealing with.
Okay.
There's all kind of different things.
True.
But
Okay, but I'm not going to get into the weeds
Oh,
about
my
this.
God.
Okay, I'm not going to get into the
I
weeds.
haven't heard that stuff about baseball though.
And it did happen. Okay, so
I know it
listen,
happened.
I'm not sitting here
I'm
crying
playing a
about
50-year-old league,
Yeah.
and if we can steal a sign, guess what we're going to do?
See, I'm not
We're
getting
gonna
into,
take it.
Okay, so I'm not getting into the weeds about what. I'm a Dodgers fan, but I'm not dying if the Dodgers don't win a World Series.
Yeah.
I just that's not who I am.
Yeah.
The problem is the macro. What I was getting to, right? The macro is I don't see the NFL pulling a title from the Patriots after the fact, and I don't see
And they got
Major League
caught
Baseball.
red-handed.
Correct.
Yeah, it's
Twice,
not gonna
and I
happen.
don't see Major League Baseball pulling World Series titles from the East National. It's not going to happen. So what does that tell our populace?
Yeah. What does that show?
It's okay.
What does show our
because,
young people?
Listen,
Yeah.
hey, just win. Just win, baby. Just win.
Yeah.
Okay, and nobody will give a damn because once you win and you got the title, nobody's going to care.
Well, that
and just the truth is, most Americans don't.
And we've seen it all in high school sports. We've seen it in.
It's from the very fundamental.
We've seen it
Do what it takes.
at little leagues. We've seen it at Pop Warner. We've seen it at all levels. It's win at all costs.
At all costs.
At all costs. And
Even when those costs are who you are.
Yeah.
Fundamentally and purposely.
Yeah.
I really do believe that because, I mean, look, we've all coached for a lifetime. I know you guys have.
I've never done that win at all costs though. I've
I
been
haven't
fortunate.
either. I haven't either, but
I've only been involved in one program that was it wasn't really a win at all costs, but it was just a different authoritative program when I was in college. But other than that, man, athletics has been a release, a fun thing for me to do. But I know
that's
of other
maybe
people.
you. That's maybe
I know
you.
of other people. I've been blessed.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
going to
will say
say
this.
I
Okay,
mean,
I've won titles for individuals and for teams. I've won state championships in wrestling for teams. My son, I think you know, maybe you don't. My son was the national champion in wrestling, and we didn't compromise. He knows that. We never compromised on how we raised our children. Quick sidebar. Richard won his national title. It was 2011. 2011. Greco-Roman national champion. He was matched up against a kid he wasn't supposed to beat. I won't go into too much because it's too specific, into the sport. He did something that might have cost him the match in the second period. There's 3 periods. He has to win 2 of the 3. So he did something in the second period that he didn't have to do. And the head of our state basically made fun of the guy that was coaching him, my friend, who was in his corner. I wasn't in his corner. But made fun of and said something like, cracking the joke, why did he do that? Basically, he could have won 2 periods in a row and the match is over. Two periods and you're done. But he was aggressive because that's who we are. We attack. So he attacked, and he ended up getting turned, and he lost the second period. What that guy saw, my point is, the head of our state saw the win. Why did you do that? All you had to do is this to win. What he didn't see was, we already had won the first one. We're good. One more. In the second period, he did something he wasn't supposed to technically, and he paid a price for it. But what he did in the second period, he did the exact same thing in the third, and the guy couldn't do it again because we saw it the first time, and we baited the guy. And so in the third period, he wins. My point is, we stayed on our method, our principle, our methodology, and our strategy, our technique, and we still won. Overall point is, you can win by doing it right, but damn, it's not easy. It's hard. You have to really dialed in. It's easier to cheat.
I've been blessed.
It's easier to cheat.
Blessed not to be in that situation where using illegal players.
Okay, you're lucky because you know what happens. You know what happens.
Now, I've played against people like that, and I take extra joy in beating them.
Right.
But yeah, I've never. And we had an opportunity to have, if I play on a 48 and older team right now, there's some rules about having guys younger than that. We had an opportunity to bring in another guy, and we wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then we come to find out 2 of the teams we played against were fudging. I mean, so
that's like Little League World Series title. The guy's like 19 years old. That guy's big. Ain't he?
Well, guess who the big kid was when I was a kid? Me. I remember.
It's like, well, we're not surprised.
We're playing in.
You were probably like 6'9" when everybody else was like.
Hey, in high school, he was in high school. He was
5'11", 6 foot at 12 years old.
tall in high school.
Hey, I was playing Little League baseball on the north end, playing in the All-Star game, and we're playing against, I don't remember which team it was, but team from the north. And one of the parents was giving me the raspberry, because I'm like 6-7 inches taller than everybody else on my team, and the kids on the side. This lady is giving me the business. White lady in the stands giving me the business. My mom is there. She finally has enough of it and kind of says something to the lady. Leave that kid alone.
Why you picking up my boy?
You don't know how
Why you
old he
picking up my
is.
boy?
Yes, I do, because he came from here. I'm like, all right, Mom. I never will forget that. And so I had to take around my birth certificate. Playing under 14 soccer. I'm one of the youngest guys on the team. I got a whole nother year at under 14s. My mom's got to take my birth certificate everywhere.
Wow.
So maybe that's why I didn't. I mean, it's not a win at all cost type of thing, because I was the guy that was always being accused.
So
of
you're
it.
ahead of the curve. I mean, listen, physically that happens to some kids. They they develop a hell of a lot earlier. They're bigger, faster, stronger. That happens. I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah.
I have an issue with, and I'm going to say, systemically. You have people doing things to basically rig the outcome, adjust the outcome. That's your macro. And
I didn't know
it
about
ends up
baseball.
coming back
I did not know that about baseball. The Astros and
the Red Sox.
Both of the worlds? Both of Boston's World Series titles, they're saying they did that, or?
This last one, when they beat the Dodgers.
So it just happened the last couple of years.
The year prior to the Nationals.
Got you, okay.
And
the Astros
the
were right
year before that, it was the Astros.
Astros, okay, got you.
And the Astros were blatant. I mean, they described how they did it. Like, they would know what pitch is coming. Kershaw has a bad Hershiser guy. Kershaw had a bad whatever. They knew his pitch coming. I will say this:
he has a bad postseason. But here's the other part about.
Hold on.
But here's the other part, though. As a coach, what I would always do, if I was on the offensive side of the ball, if you and I were coaching, I would tell you, I want you to break down. I want you to do a game deal and break me down. What are my tendencies as the offensive coordinator, or what are my tendencies as a defensive coordinator? Because if you can pick them up and you see me every day, everybody else can see them. So also, if they're picking up Kershaw's pitches, it's upon him also. He's doing something to tip him off.
True, but
I mean, that's
I think it's
It's
the
like-
point of where
it's science, though.
it's the focus of winning.
Yeah,
Winning,
I got you.
Winning
Yeah.
is everything. Like when I was a middle school principal, and it was like winning was everything, and it's like it was crazy. It's like we would win.
they grow the hell up.
Yeah, and it's like,
I'm serious.
okay, come on, you're
With
winning.
coaches and
You're
parents.
winning by 10 runs. Take those starters out and put somebody else in, or what have you.
You
And
must have been playing against Clovis.
I've seen it. I've just seen it.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't
And
have
just
said that.
and it's the focus on athletics
No, he's right.
and the money that these people make. I tell you right now.
The money that people invest in their children to win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, so I'll piggyback with you there. Yeah, because it's like, you were in the position where you were a principal. So you had coaches and you had parents, and you know how parents can be. Okay, it's not always coach, sometimes the parents.
Yeah.
I said that we won a wrestling title, a state wrestling championship. We could have actually won more. But every year, to what you were saying a second ago, every year we went, when I was coach, I did it for like 3 years total. Every year we went, I made sure that every kid we took, every kid, got at least a minimum of 2 matches, at least. I can tell you directly, after I went back, I never thought about it in the moment because I did what I'm on my methodology. I'm on my method of conduct as a coach and as an adult and as an educator. Every child will get at least 2 matches in this tournament. Going back after a few years, I'm looking at my lineup. Whoa, I didn't have to do that. And if I had just kept this kid in, like a kid who ended up being a 2-time national champ at nationally, NC2AAs, I could have used him here, and here, and we would have won at least another 1 or 2 titles. And my point is this, it's to what you're getting at. You can win, but you have to be strong enough individually as a coach, as a parent, to tell yourself, like, I'm going to win, I'm going to do it this way, and if I don't win, then I'm going to use that as a teachable moment, a learning method, and I'm going to teach my child, my team, that you're not going to win everything. And maybe you don't want to win every damn thing all the time, because when you're so damn great and so damn incredible, that you will begin to act in that fashion, and that's when you pay a price as an individual.
Yeah, true.
And I think I'll say it for the macro. I think we're paying the price right now as a country. I really do. And it's predicated on sports, because go everywhere in the country, right? You start Little League, you start this, start that. I can tell you the bantams in wrestling, 4 or 5 year old little dudes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That it starts from that age all over the country. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And that method, I think we are paying a price for. I
agree.
Where it's all like, I'm making this much money. I do this. I do that.
Yeah.
And that's the type of person that
And
we
these-
have right now in this country.
And these people making millions and $10 million a year. I mean, come on.
For exercising.
Yeah. We don't want to talk about what teachers don't make.
Yeah.
Let's go on, because we're running real low here.
I'm good.
You good? Okay.
I talked about the Pope, and you guys kind of passed on that one. So
We did.
I'll
You know
leave
what?
that one alone.
All right, so,
I'll leave that one alone.
No, that Netflix, The Two Popes, it's supposed to be about Francis and Benedict. It's on Netflix. Check it out. I haven't watched it yet.
I saw it on it, but
It's
I didn't.
Anthony Hopkins and Jeffrey. Is
So
it Jeffrey
Benedict,
Price?
Benedict, the one
KP?
who stepped down.
Jonathan Price.
No, it's Dan.
It's Anthony Hopkins and Jonathan Price. They play Francis and Benedict.
And this is the Benedict that just stepped down?
I think so. Yeah. It's
Because
current.
Francis was before him, right?
Okay, so it's the transition from one to the next. It's now.
okay.
Okay,
I'll have
and
to
it's
check
supposed
that
to be
out.
really damn good. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going. It's on Netflix.
I got it. I
And-
saw that
and
on
here's the
there.
thing.
I
It's-
haven't
it's
watched it. but
Anthony Hopkins and Jonathan Price. Beyond well acted.
I don't know who Jonathan Price is. I'll look
He,
him up
oh
right
man,
now.
that guy's been around forever.
Maybe I do,
He's an
but-
old English dude. He's been. I mean, he's done. It's one of those guys.
Here on Broadway on Saigon.
Okay.
Right, but the Two Popes. I'm going to check it out, but it has to do with that. So I won't. Okay, you go.
Decade of sharing when it comes
This guy
to
making me feel good over here. Look at this guy.
Oh, okay.
Airbnb, Lyft, Uber. I mean, you look at before all of
There's some really good social.
I try to lighten it up, Try to lighten it up.
You know me too well. 'Cause you know I'm gonna bring some ugly.
But you look at before where, okay, I want to take the kids in an RV and go up to Yosemite and drive and have that experience, and now you can go and you can rent somebody's RV and you can take it for a day, a week, or 2 weeks, and then you can turn it right back in.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
you can. There's almost anything now out there. Like you can rent someone's house. Someone has this nice posh house that's overlooking the cliffs of on the beach of San Diego, and I can go on Airbnb and I can take the family down there and I can stay in a really nice house with all the amenities and not sterile like a hotel and go have a nice time. I think it's a lot of this stuff now is where it's just kind of opening up the experiences for our people, our country, to go and do things that they normally wouldn't do. Uber and Lyft, all right? So think about before that. All right, I got to take the car into the shop. All right, well, honey, you've got to call your work and let them know that you're going to be late and this and that. Oh, you got to pick me up afterward. Oh, I'm going to drop you off. Now, it's like when I have to take the car in or what have you, I'll go on there and then I'll go and drop it off at the dealer, the whatever, and I have the people come and pick me up and take me home or take me this or that. And so not only the aspect of opening up all of those things and just making life a little bit more convenient, but look at the job opportunities that it's bringing in on the other flip side.
Yeah.
The same thing, I didn't touch upon this with the Amazons and all the online stuff. Look at all the opportunities for people that are able to supplement their income, selling on Amazon, selling on eBay. I want to work full time, but you know what though? I've got to make some more money somehow because I'm just not doing. You know what? I've got a car. I've got insurance. I'm going to go drive for Uber, and I'm going to make money or this or that. I just think that just how we I think in a I don't know, lack of a better way of saying it, that we have all these norms that we were very rigid when it came to things. And now it's just, who would have thunk that instead of calling a taxi, you get on an app and somebody that maybe lives in your neighborhood or they're in your city and they come pulling up in their car and they drive you to wherever, and it's cost effective, efficient,
really efficient.
It's any day or night. I know Uber and Lyft are huge when it comes to drinking and driving, and now people is like, oh, I can't find a taxi or this or that, can't find a ride home. Everyone's gone, oh, I'll just Uber it. Airbnb, it's getting where people can go and start staying at nicer and nicer, more homely places instead of, oh, we've got to go to the hotel and spend $200 a night for this sterile room that a gazillion people have lived in, and we don't know what's on the floor and what have you. But yeah, so it's just kind of looking at how we have just kind of really broken the barriers on a lot of that stuff, and it's more of people getting involved in, hey, I've got a room to rent, and like, I did not know this, but Fresno is a big destination when it comes to conventions. It's kind of a convention hub because it's Central Valley. It's you have the San Diegos and the San Franciscos, but Central Valley, I did not know this. Yeah. And there's a lot of people here in town, and I know there's people in my neighborhoods and all of our neighborhoods that we live in that, hey, when a convention comes to town, I'm going to make my house available, or I'm going to make a room available. So just really, that's just got it started in this last decade. And where is that going to go from here?
Yeah.
Because before it was like, okay, suit rental. Okay, I'll go and I'll rent a suit or what have you. And it's kind of taken that concept of or you know what, I need to go drill a hole in my backyard to plant a tree, so I'll go and I'll rent an auger. And it's taken those basic ideas that we have just kind of, but now it's like, oh, they're, car rentals. But now that's Uber and Lyft, they're taxis. Now I can rent someone's house. I can rent someone's RV. I can rent someone's boat. I remember, years ago, go up to Shaver, and we rented a big, party thing and a party boat. And now there's people that have those, and I don't have to go up to Shaver and spend all this, huge amounts of money. There's somebody down here that I can rent it from, and it's nice and easy, and it's economical, it's convenient. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see.
Convenience, and I'm gonna say again, there's an efficiency.
Yeah.
Like the Lyft and the Uber thing, and others that'll. I'll do this. I'll make that segue into kind of my last one that I know both of you will be on board with. A lot of those things, a lot of those new ideas, concepts, and ways of thinking that are not, the traditional or the norm or what we've had, they're coming from younger people.
Yes. Yeah.
They're not coming from older, our age and older,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So they're coming from younger people. So my last one is like I'm really, really interested, and I've got my Supermex, radar up for where things go with this generation, and in particular, and I'm sure you guys have kids this age too. My son's 24, my daughter's 23. My daughter's 18, and mystified, alternately, mystified and intrigued by their thought processes on some things, and their aggressiveness with finding ways to better things that we've done in the past, and finding ways that we can go forward more efficiently, which is the very nature of like a Lyft or Uber or
Airbnb or
yeah,
any of that stuff,
Airbnb.
yeah.
Right.
Facebook?
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, literally all of everything.
true.
They're finding ways to make things much more convenient. And I'm going to say it again, like definitely for the Uber thing, it's much more efficient
Oh, yeah.
than just hailing a cab.
And available.
Very available. They took a simple concept like, why, like monolithically, should we want to go and get this yellow cab that is owned by this company when we have all these other people driving around in cars that maybe can use a few extra bucks? That is smart. That's pretty damn smart.
Yeah.
It's taking advantage of a growing population, a population that is eventually going to go more toward automation. I don't mean vehicles, but automation in terms of jobs. More jobs will be more service sector, not like manufacturing and things like that. I mean, listen, let's put it all on the table now. The economy and our country is changing, and you better wake the hell up. And so I am optimistic to see how young people address the problems that maybe we don't see like on the surface as correctable, because we've been doing it a certain way for so damn long.
right.
Because who would have thought, like, damn, that makes sense. There's a lot of cars out there.
Oh, yeah.
Why do we have to go to that one company just to get the car? Because
Oh, yeah.
then the economy, right, the macro econ of it is they control the consumer in what they are offering, meaning their product, their service. They control the dollar amount.
Right.
By getting all these other people involved and all these other cars and all these other methods, now the balance is shifted more toward the consumer.
Right.
It's much more available, more efficient, and less cost. Far less expensive.
Oh, yeah,
Because,
far
I
less.
mean, yellow cabs cost a load. And I'm not even
Expensive.
living in New York. I'm talking about right
Yeah,
here, right
I
now.
know, I know.
So that's kind of where, like, and I'll leave that on a general sense of optimism, because I've given two uglies, but, and you guys are both in education. You understand that, we're going to have to do some things differently. And I don't
Sure.
mean just in education, that's another show. But I'm optimistic that if we, as an adult populace, older populace, give them the historic tools necessary, the things that we did, like, hey, young blood, I know you're doing some different things, but this is how we did it. And I'm not saying you have to do it that way, but this is how we did it. So now, through trial and error experience,
Just out of the box thinking.
right.
Yeah.
But you can't have out of the box thinking if you don't know what's in the box.
True.
And that's
Yeah.
my ultimate point,
Yeah.
is that if they don't know our history,
Right.
if they don't know what came before them,
Right.
then how do they change something to make it better? You can't make something better if you don't know what is good or bad about something.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
Yeah.
on us, by the way. And I'm a history teacher, but I believe that we need to teach our young people these things. This is the way this country started. This is our Constitution. This is and you lay out all these things, and then you let them internalize all that information. keep the good stuff and improve or remove the bad stuff. That's the American way.
Yep.
I mean, I really believe that fundamentally. That's what has made us great. That's what can keep us great and be an incredible country. But I'm going to say it, the obligation's on us as adults and as educators. Because if we don't do that, and we're blaming them, we're blaming young people, then whose fault is that? That's our fault.
And remember that our kids' generation is the largest generation on the face of the earth right now.
They're
And
big.
they're projecting that the one that's behind them may even wind up being even larger. It skipped over us, by the way. It's the baby boomers, the X and Y skipped over, then the millennials.
Millennials, yeah.
Is that big generation. And so whether we teach them or not, it's going to happen. It's just I'm curious about what's going to be the outcome.
What's
when
gonna
I'm
happen.
I'm curious.
70 years old,
Right, right.
80 years old,
I'm
on my
curious.
walker and stuff.
I wanna see what
what
it is.
exactly. I'm going to be able to drive.
Yeah, I want to see what it is, but I'm going to tell you what, I want to be an active part of that
I
coming.
would rather not.
Well, I would.
I want to enjoy the
No,
fruits of
I
this.
want to. I want to because I want to be. I want to be involved. I want to be a part of what they're doing because it fascinates me and excites me. And I'm going to say it again: if we're not educating them, if we're not teaching them, if we're not going over the processes, if we're not explaining them why this country is what it is, okay, and why it is good, why it is better than all the other countries, then they can't know that, and they can't improve upon it. They can't make it better and remove or excise the things that are not working any longer, but without throwing the baby out in the bathwater. You get my point? They have to know, and that means we have to teach them. You like that, huh? We have to teach them. We should teach a class together, but in uniform like this.
Yeah.
By the way, thank you, Sita.
Yes, thank
Sita
you.
Pearson. I think it's SETA.
Seta? I'm sorry, Seta.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm just, but I think it is because, well, I'm going to check with her, but I think it's
Okay.
Seta Pearson.
Okay.
So yes, one last shout out to Seta Pearson, always Dapper 559.
Yep.
Sam's Tuxedos and Men's Suits. We are wrapped up for the evening. We went quite a bit, but it was an
Yeah.
expensive date night.
Yeah.
And we got plenty covered. And so I will say this, we're gentlemen that see some things and interested to see what comes over the next 10 years.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm excited, like I said, especially that last piece. I want to see what young people do. I want to see what they do. They've already created some things or done some things, and they're much more aggressive than maybe even our generation was.
Yeah, true.
I think our generation in some ways was like kind of bogged down by the baby boom generation because they controlled everything. And we're going to get a little bit of a slice of a window. But that younger group is aggressive and they're hungry. I know that because I know my son is.
Oh, yeah.
I know my daughter are. They
Oh, yeah.
want
Yeah.
to. They want to like go right now. They're like, oh man, and like I said, I like that excitement. I think that's what this country was kind of founded on, in terms of energy and excitement and hunger. But it's got to be balanced with the specifics of principles, rule of law, all the good things that made us that helped glue us together, so that we are who we are,
Yeah.
today. Any last comments from gents?
Yeah.
We
Happy
good?
New Year.
Yeah, Happy
Maybe
New
I
Year.
said that last week.
You did, but I mean, we're there. I mean, Happy New
Happy
Year,
New Year.
Happy New Decade.
Yeah.
Right.
Happy New Decade. But let's do this. I want to thank everybody for being here again and spending your cheap and / expensive date night with us, with the gentleman and myself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go home tonight. I'm going to check and see who is watching right now and through the feed. And I'm going to pick a lucky viewer fan for a free CD off of my list on, let's do that, on YouTube. On YouTube, you go to YouTube and you punch in Supermex Nation. You'll see my mug on a video. Click on it, go to my channel. And so I'm real happy with this because what I did was I took just the music from the specials I did about a week or two ago. The top 10 country songs of 2019 and the top 20 just overall songs of 2019, and I made a playlist of them on YouTube. So you can go to my YouTube page and watch videos of us here, but you can also go to the video or the YouTube page. Where is it at? On playlists. You got to go to playlists. So that's on the main page too. Then, yeah, it's right there. Okay, cool. So you go to playlists and you'll see these different videos, these playlists that I have of music. It's just music. It's not me talking. It's just music. But that's what we've done. So I'm going to create more of those. So I want you to go to the page, like it, love it, share it, subscribe to it. We're going to start moving more toward YouTube as a format and as we increase the content for the show and for the network. So go take a look at that. But I will give out a free CD once I go home and take a look at the video tonight, go watch the show again, and I'm going to pick somebody off tonight's viewers, and you're going to get a free CD. I know that some of you guys have already gotten the free gifts that I did for the Supermex Christmas special, for the New Year's special. I gave out CDs. I gave out movies. Wonderful Life, Die Hard, great Christmas movie. Okay. So I'm going to go crazy. Watch this. I've got, okay, this is more if you're in Fresno. This is more for Fresno. So if you're in my area, I'm going to go look tonight. If you go and you can tell me what the top 10 country songs were, I'll make you work. Off the YouTube channel, get this, you're going to get a free dinner at El Bajío Mexican Restaurant on Shields in West Fresno. Great Mexican family restaurant. A free dinner for the person who goes to my YouTube page, checks out the top 10 country videos of 2019, send me that list. If you send me that list in a message or post it, you get a free dinner at El Bajío Mexican Restaurant down the street from me. Good friends. They partner with Supermex Nation as well. So make sure we're clear again. Whoever posts the 10 songs that I've got on my YouTube playlist for the top 10 country songs of 2019, you'll get a free dinner at El Bajío Mexican Restaurant. And I'm going to pick out somebody as a lucky winner of a CD off one of those playlists. Plenty of giving. I'm in a giving mood. Christmas all year, baby. Christmas all year. So that's the show for tonight. We'll be back next week, maybe in a different form, altered. Probably not in the tux. I'm going to chill a little bit, getting it ready for a new year, new decade. But nothing but love for all of you guys. Thank you for being here. As usual, safety briefing, go off into the weekend. Go do, go live, go be. But be careful, be safe, be aware of your surroundings. And again, it's not always you. It might be somebody else. It might be the other person that maybe takes a wrong turn or that is not careful. And we've seen that happen. I've seen that personally happen where somebody was not at fault, but they paid the price ultimately, in an accident or some other, accident, problem, cause, whatever. Just be careful is what I'm saying, because I want to see everybody back next Friday night. Quick programming note. More than likely, I'll put it through the weekend into the Facebook group, Supermex Nation. If you're not in it already, hit me up on Facebook and then ask to be put into the Supermex Nation group. Monday, Tuesday, we will begin. I'm going to do the top the top movies of the 2010s. And the next day, I'm going to do the top songs and artists, musicians of the 2010s. Those are a couple of the last shows that I've got to wrap up for the decade. Those are going to be a lot of fun, a lot of cool gifts going out for those two. So that's Monday, Tuesday. So I'll be back on Monday, Tuesday. Make sure you're here. Other than that, have a good time, have a good rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week. Supermex and company are out. Swainbo and Dr. Miller.
Happy New Year.